Welcome into an unseasonably warm Wednesday, record-breaking temperatures. Another West Coast biased edition of Primetime. One more of these to go. Isaac Robb in theory back tomorrow, and then Friday we're out at Kells. Andrew Nemec, Stephen Vaughn, gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing all right. Happy dirt on the grave of Nico Harrison.
Yeah, it's not... will go down as one of the more stunning things to happen in modern sports. I don't know what Nico's doing now because he's not general managing, and I'm guessing he will not general manage again. But, yeah, if you were living under a rock today, Anthony Davis has been dealt, and we'll talk about this. But he is now officially a Washington Wizard, and the Dallas Mavericks are, well, I guess they're happy with their return for Chris Middleton and some bad draft picks. That's essentially what they traded him for.
They are a Cooper Flag fluke lottery win away from being the most disastrous franchise in all of the NBA.
Yeah.
Coming off of, 18 months prior to winning the Cooper Cup lottery?
Like
they were in the finals.
A 25-year, I think he was 25, maybe 26. Luka led them to the finals. And, yeah, less than 2 years later, it is... this. They got more for Anthony Davis, who has played 29 games for them, than they did for Luka Doncic. By the way, I also saw this fun one today, too, is that Anthony Davis, who has played 29 games for the Dallas Mavericks. And remember, Luka was traded out of Dallas because of his conditioning and durability concerns. Luka, since coming to the Lakers, has had 29 games where he has scored 30 points or more. Anthony Davis has played in 29 games. You're right. Like, had the fluke ping pong balls gone the other way, and Dallas had pulled a Utah Jazz, who seemingly tanks every year and can get nothing out of it. Same thing with there's other now that the odds have been flattened, tanking doesn't guarantee you anything.
Right.
Like the Pistons kind of had rotten luck this for a while. The Jazz. So Dallas kind of did a mini tank the 1 year where they shut down Kyrie and then ended up getting the number 1 overall pick. And Cooper Flag looks to be the real deal. Outside of that, you're right. They would be the laughingstock of the NBA, and they still kind of are the laughingstock of the NBA with this.
Well, it's terrible. I guess if we're going there, the Mavs, in the end, turn Luka into Max Christie, very much aging Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, a Lakers first-round pick in 2029, the Thunder's first-round pick this year. That's going to be in the late.
Well, it's the 30th. Late. It's the 30th pick.
Yeah, I guess it is.
It's the 30th.
Well, no, it's next. It's 2026, right?
No, it's this year's.
Okay.
So it's the 30th pick. It will be from what I saw, I think they said that was the 30th pick.
But it should be. But the draft order is not done until the playoffs are done.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not officially until if they got bounced in the first round. But yeah, it's probably going to be roughly 30th.
Well, it's not based on. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a terrible pick.
Right. The Warriors' protected pick in 2030.
So it can't be a top 20 pick.
And a handful of not even a handful, of second-round picks.
So you got
that's insane.
You got garbage picks. You got meaningless first-round picks. And it sounds like they just wanted to be able to say that they got first-round picks. I mean, none of those things are valuable at all. I looked at the two younger players. I was like, who the hell? They're all averaging 2 to 6 points a game. They seriously, they got an aging Chris Middleton and Marvin Bagley. And then some horse crap. And that's what they got in
Malachi
return.
Branham once had a good game one time.
It's almost
sort of.
It is. It's not almost. It's inexcusable. This is the worst trade, with the exception of maybe Herschel Walker. And the only reason the Herschel Walker one is because it led to a Cowboys dynasty. And we'll see, if Luka leads them anywhere. But yes, this will go down as the worst trade in NBA history, hands down.
I think you can retroactively, when you stack picks, come up with worse trades because this pick turned into these picks turned into 3 Hall of Famers. But just on the logic of here is a trade that's been announced, every single person who saw Brandon Sprague sent me the trade within seconds of my son sending me the trade right after, and I thought it was a joke. I thought they got ball sacked, and it's like I tweeted out
this has to be a joke.
There has to be more first round picks. There has to be another player. And then it just kept getting worse. They gave the press, well, one, they wouldn't address the media, right? They wouldn't talk about it. And then they finally did, and it was like, well, we had durability concerns about Luka. So you traded for Anthony Davis? I mean, he is the epitome of hurt. And then
he got hurt immediately.
He got hurt in the first game, his debut with the Mavs. He got hurt. And it just kept getting worse where it just – then the guys they did trade for, they had so many injuries, they almost, because they were up against it with the cap, they couldn't trade and they couldn't sign any more two-way deals because of how they structure things. The Blazers are up against this somewhat now with their two-way deals or however that works, that they almost couldn't field a team. They almost had to forfeit games after that trade. Do you remember that they were talking, Stephen, that they were talking about we may have to forfeit a game or two because we're not healthy enough to have a full roster? I mean, it was SNL level parody.
There's some moves that when you look back on, they're beyond shocking. And it's a reminder that just because you're in a GM or an ownership position doesn't mean that you're a smart individual. And what do we say all the time? Bad organizations are going to be bad organizations. Whether that's the Deshaun Watson deal in Cleveland, which continues to hamper them. Again, that's the one that comes to mind. Someone said, if this is the worst trade, what's the worst contract? The Deshaun Watson contract is going to end up being the worst contract. But at least with the Deshaun Watson deal, you can put it in a vacuum and say, how did you know that a top 5 quarterback at the age of 25 was going to fall off a cliff from taking a year off and not getting massages anymore? Like, the only thing that made no sense about that was all the off-field stuff. Well, then it turned into his confidence is just shattered.
It was all the guarantees. Yes. They broke rank from the NFL. Which was also weird.
But I understand that if you're trying to get, at the time, what you viewed as, again, a top 5 quarterback in the league, I can see it. This, at least with this, same thing with the Herschel Walker one. At least you can be like, at the time, draft picks weren't really thought much of, and here's a guy who could be a final piece. I've never tried to be overly critical if I can see what you're trying to do. If you give me the framework, I say this about any sort of political discourse, any sort of sports argument, if I can see your side of it, then it's just a matter we have a difference of opinions. It's like with draft picks, right? I like this quarterback, you like that quarterback. Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning. In hindsight, the biggest no-brainer of all time. But I could have listened to someone that gave me the reason why the upside of Ryan Leaf was better than that of Peyton Manning. Don't agree with you in hindsight. Turned out that's a foolish argument, but there's an argument to be made. This might be one of the few trades, the Luka for Anthony Davis thing, especially now that we look back at this part of it, there is no logical... There's no logic for this, especially when you see, it's not in a vacuum. Look at the trades that have been made over the last 24 months. Everything from Rudy Gobert to Karl Anthony Towns to Triple J out of Memphis. I mean, all of these guys are getting massive returns.
Jaren Jackson Jr. got 3 first-round picks.
It's insane. And by the way,
Jaren Jackson Jr.
and potentially good ones.
Right.
And this is what you get for a perennial MVP guy in Luka Doncic?
It is a horrible trade. I will throw the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade to the Thunder from the Clippers up there as well as a horrible trade because it started a complete dynasty in Oklahoma City.
That's true.
But to your point, yes, this trade not getting draft picks back, it seemed as if like there had to have been something behind the scenes, and Nico Harrison, Tiger great. He's just like, look, I got to trade him. I got to do it right now. We're going to do it secretly because if you put him on the open market, if you let it be known to other teams in the NBA, hey, we want to trade Luka, they're going to line up with draft picks. They're going to line up with some assets, not just an aging center and Anthony Davis.
Giannis is 31 coming off multiple years of injuries, and he's going to go for 3 times the haul that Luka did.
Yes.
All because Luka was Andrew Nemec. How does that feel knowing that one of the worst trades of all time went because Luka was in your shape? Does that hurt deep down when you're
on the good side?
It's not ideal.
You're the good part of it. If you were being compared to Anthony Davis, that would be a problem.
Steven, you're being kind here.
Is that why you wanted to leave the show with this? Because it hits hard every time you see the chubby Luka. You're like, it kills you a little bit just deep inside.
There I am right there.
Just seeing that.
Dude, I'm glad I go for any first round, second round picks, whatever. I'll take it. What's tough is I don't ever in the history of trades knock a team when you start compiling here's what the draft picks turned into.
Yeah.
Because that's out of your control.
Yeah, you don't know.
You don't like the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander thing.
No one knew Shai was going to be an
Nobody
MVP.
knew he was about to be an MVP.
Nobody.
On either side of that trade. They weren't like, oh my God, can you believe it? the way that it was later reported with the Luka deal is that the Lakers were like, please don't let this leak. Please don't let this leak. Because if it leaks, any team that hears about it, any single team that hears about it is going to offer them more than what we've agreed to. Any of them. So all we have to do is get over the finish line. Yeah. And you have to know, the Lakers GM at the time is like, if this leaks, you're going to deal with a lot of blowback. This just needs to happen. Yeah. We just need to get this done. And then we'll deal with the fallout after that,
Everybody
Nico.
Shut
I
up.
promise.
Everybody shut up. Don't talk.
If you're Tiger, because I'm sure when you have a famous alum, especially at the high school level, college, it's a little bit more ambiguous. At the high school level, they really prop that up. Like Lake Oswego's entire hallway is like a Kevin Love hallway, and they've had a lot of famous people come through there.
Sure.
Tiger has to have some Nico Harrison stuff. Does this trade get him removed? Do you think they went like just take it?
Tigard High School and Summer League, Rex Putnam High School.
Because here's the problem.
He's pulled down the plaque.
At the end of the day,
an asterisk all up Barry Bonds on there.
At the end of the day, Nico, and it makes it even worse. Tigard High School's, it's school. It's a school, and he's not being criticized for his athletic performance later. We go, well, it's out of our control. It has to do with him not being very bright. And it has to do with, like, someone failed him
we did a bad job
along the way in terms of his education. If you're Tigard High School, that's a mark against you as an educational facility.
Careful with that. Like,
Take him down.
This happens to me at least, I'd say every, 6 to 8 months. And it happened to me, maybe a month or two ago, inevitably. Someone goes through Mountain View High School. I went to high school over there in Vancouver. And this last one, I'll pull it up. It was on Twitter. This was about a month ago. I think he was a coach at Kelso, and he was coming through. And someone takes a shot, I guess at Mountain View. I haven't been I haven't been to that school in a while. They've renovated, or they tore it down, built a new one. And I did a little tour. My daughter went there, but I didn't see all the stuff they have up. But I guess they have an athletic hall of fame where they have 3 football jerseys and they've got some names and stuff. Inevitably, someone takes a photo of that and is like, "Didn't you go here?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." And they're like, "How come there's no mention of you whatsoever?" And you're like, "Yeah." So be careful throwing shade at people for not being up in high schools. It's very, very rude of people.
Oh, did we touch on a sensitive topic of yours here, sir? I think you've done fine. You made it to the NFL. I'm pretty sure the Mountain View Hall of Fame is totally. It's okay that you didn't make it.
It just made me think of that and it's always the same photo. There's 3, Michael Roos is up there, Ryan Lindell, and someone else. And then they have some plaques and names and stuff, and there's the inevitable. Why? What? And I'm like, some high schools don't like to claim alumni, so maybe, just maybe, Nico will fall into that category. Someone's like, "Hey, didn't you go to Tiger?" And he's gonna be like, "Yeah."
Yeah, but I was tutored by a teacher that taught in Tualatin. It's more my academic prowess, my critical thinking primarily comes from the Tualatin area. That's the only way. Otherwise, take it down, Tiger, because you failed Nico Harrison in terms of getting him emotionally, mentally prepared for the real world.
He was smart till he got to college, all right? College ruined him.
He also worked at Nike, right?
Oh, he was big Nike. He was Kobe's right-hand man.
Yeah, which is probably why I got the job.
Yeah.
This was from the head coach of the Kelso girls basketball team. That is the trophy case of Mountain View High School.
And it says, "Where are you?" basically.
Yeah, and there is no mention. So just go easy on people that weren't esteemed enough to get into their high school.
We need to retire your jersey in here. That's what we need to do.
This is the we should. We'll get his high school jersey and put it up. We can put up Dirts.
We'll claim you here at the Fan.
Can't we put up Dirts? Wasn't he a quarterback in the PIL?
I think Dirt claims player of the year in the PIL, I think.
We can look that up pretty easily. I've got the connections to look that up.
I think that is a Dirt claim to fame is PIL player of the year. I don't know what school he went to.
He has to be the least, respectfully, the least athletic.
Wow. Look at Dirt. Look at Dirt catching strays in the opening segment.
Aaron Miles is like the PIL player. There was a year where Jefferson's basketball team, their entire starting 5 played high D1 basketball. Like one guy went to Oregon, one went to Missouri, one guy went to Kansas, one went to UNLV. I mean, the PIL is loaded with great athletes every year. Dirt has to be the least athletic person to ever win PIL player of the year.
Wow. I don't know. Do we know, was Dirt like an athlete back in the day? I don't know. He had to do something. He was player of the year.
He's a quarterback.
As he alleges. He was quarterback. He's like 5'6".
Think of it.
He's out there running the triple option or something.
Didn't Terry Baker go to Jefferson? A Heisman Trophy winner was a quarterback in PIL. I'm just saying, the PIL has had some great players of the year over the year that went on to played in the NBA and played in the NFL. Dirt doesn't strike me as the most athletic guy to win PIL Player of the Year. That's all I'm saying.
Wow, I feel like some sort of athletic contest now between you and Dirt. You were talking about the other day of when's the last time you sprinted. I feel like we need some sort of
sprint off.
Yeah, sprint off between you and Dirt.
Whatever,
Let's
man.
see what happens. We're having some sort
game.
of push-up contest.
It would be really funny if I tore my Achilles sprinting against
I would
Dirt.
laugh so
you would
very
love
hard. So yeah, I am intrigued though to see what they do with Nico there in the hallways. Because it's one thing if you're never up there, but I'm assuming, like you said, there's some things up there.
Yeah, we need someone to text in like that's at Tigard High School.
Yeah.
Because do they have a Nico shrine or not?
Yeah,
I tear it down.
I get photos all the time. Why aren't you up here? I need someone from inside the hallways to let me know if there is a Nico photo, like a little GM, former GM, and now it's just kind of quietly.
Former friend of Kobe Bryant. Yeah, that's what it says.
Kind of pull a Trump and just remove photos from the White House.
Redacted.
When all the statues in Portland kept getting defaced, and so they started to take them all down. What if they just put Nico's in the back room for a while? It's like, nah, the environment's too hot right now for Nico. We're gonna have to wait a couple
we take
years.
It down a little bit, wait and put it back up.
We'll put it back up down the road, but right now it's not a good time for Nico.
No. We can't risk having any Mavs fans walk in here. We cannot risk it.
It was a busy day in the NBA. We still have one more. I got a little less than 24 hours. NBA trade deadline tomorrow, so we'll talk about the latest rumors. It doesn't sound necessarily like maybe Portland is going to do anything major, although maybe a couple still shifts to come because, again, we have to convert some contracts. So we'll get to some NFL stuff. We are just a couple sleeps away from the Super Bowl. We got some news coming out of the Olympics, so just kind of wide-ranging West Coast bias edition of Primetime. And it's National Signing Day, kind of, sort of. So we'll ask our recruiting guy over there if anything actually happens. So a ton to get to today, 3 to 7 right here on 105.1 The Fan. Now, we do have confirmation. One Brandon Sprague in regards to Andy Johnson being the player of the year, PIL. Just helped him move. He was legit the 2007 PIL football player of the year. Saw the plaque. Was the QB for their last playoff win, and then he finished it up with Fat Luca taking shots on air, LOL. So, according to one Brandon Sprague, he has seen the plaque, which, again, I'd like to point out, a little odd that Dirt just happens to have his PIL Player of the Year plaque. Oh, I left that out while you were helping me move. Sorry about that. Just happened to be the PIL
I'm
Player
kind of a big deal.
God, I wish I was helping to move and I would have seen that. I wonder if I could make someone cry because they were the PIL Player of the Year. Oh, Dirt. We love him.
Do you think curling's on in the studio? Do you think?
Did you see what happened with the curling? By the way,
no.
Just real quick. So curling, the Olympics are going on right now. Opening ceremony, I think, is Friday, but it started today.
Okay.
None of the venues are done. They're still working on them.
Oh.
And curling was 4 minutes in. The first event was some sort of men's curling competition. The power went out.
Really?
Yeah. It went black and they had to stop 4 minutes into the Olympics. Continue. Yes, I do see curling here, which, by the way, is very fun.
Is curling the number one Olympic sport that if you really gave an S and you practiced for a year that you think you could be close to that level?
To closest to being an Olympian.
Yeah.
Well, nothing's going to happen at 48 now. But are you going like when I was like in...
No, I mean now.
Right now. Yeah, this is going to be a disservice to curlers because I've curled 2 or 3 times.
I know it's harder than it looks.
It's got... I don't know the difference between like... It's like you ever play golf and you golf with someone that's like a +1 or a +2? Like I'm lucky enough, my buddy belongs to a country club, so I get to go out and play with him a bunch. And they've got golfers there that are like insane. Played in college, played on maybe a mini tour or something, and that are like +2s, and they just wow me. And then you ask them, what's the difference between you and like the worst player to even sniff like a tour, and they laugh and they're like, oh my God.
Well, that's the Scalabrine quote. He always says, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me.
Yes.
Which is 100% true, not even close.
It's true. Like if any of us played Brian Scalabrine, I wouldn't get a shot. That dude would block every shot that I have, and he would beat me 20-0.
He would smash you.
He would just beat the living bejesus out of me.
And he actually does that. Have you seen that?
Yeah, he goes out to like playgrounds, like in New York, and just beats the hell out of people. He's like 6'9", like 270.
Yeah.
He just shoves people out of the way. So I want to say that like if we went and if I spent a year and all I did was curl like 10 hours a day, and just I'm sweeping and I'm throwing the stone, like you probably think you're really good, and then you would go against one of them and you'd realize just what a piece of crap you are. But you said, is that the closest you could become? What other could shooting be something?
So
like because is there?
I looked this up and they say shooting / archery, curling. And then if it's just about competing, but you don't have to be good, people said the 100-meter, because anybody could finish 100-meter. But that's not how I look at it. Because any 5 dudes could step on a basketball court and play basketball.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're close to
I would think that would be the worst. But that's not true, because even if you play for a crappy country, there is a minimum. What's the minimum? What's the minimum? But no, there's a qualifying time,
right,
that you have to meet in the 100-meter.
So the 100 isn't right.
No,
because they're saying, well, you could technically finish the race. It's like, well, you wouldn't qualify. So I do think it's curling or shooting that would be the easiest Olympic sport.
Yeah, so that you have to be, for 2024 Paris, the qualification standards, you had to run under a 10 in order to get in. I mean, come on.
That's insanely fast.
I don't know what I mean, am I running like a 17, 15? I don't know. I haven't run 100 meters, but I'm sure it's not that.
I'm not sprinting it. I know that.
10 flat is insanely fast.
I do remember, this was years and years ago, me and Dusty were doing a show at the Dante Rosario, NFL great and Oregon Duck alum. He was putting on a football camp, and I don't remember where it was. I was down at the beach, and I had to come back for it.
He went to Dayton, right?
He went to Dayton.
He played with his brother at Concordia.
Yeah. Oh, so probably just a ridiculously athletic family.
Yeah.
And we were doing our show out at at a football stadium. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was out in Hillsborough. It might have been out at maybe the Hillsborough Stadium had just opened. Their new football stadium out there. But there was a gal who was like the reigning 800-meter Olympic champion.
Maria Matola?
I don't know.
She hangs in Oregon quite a bit. Was she an African-American lady?
But yeah, and so she was the Olympic gold medalist, and then she got pregnant. And so she ran the Olympic trials pregnant. Just as, not seriously, but it was like she was defending her Olympic trials. So she couldn't run in the Olympics because she was pregnant. She was like 8 months pregnant. And she ran in the trials anyways, and she was like kind of celebrated, and we were talking about it. And during one of the breaks, we were talking about the difference between Olympians and just, schnooks like us. And I was like, Dusty goes, do you think you could beat an 8-month pregnant time? And I was like, in 800 meters? I was like, I don't think so. And we were like, well, let's see. So we went out during the break, and I was in like in a pair of like, just pants and some shoes. I tied my shoes. And I was like, let's see if I can do this. So I ran 800 meters. The 8-month pregnant lady dusted me.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, it was not, when I say dusted, this wasn't by like 5-10 seconds. Dude, I think she beat me by like 25 seconds.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
8 months pregnant, an 8-month pregnant woman.
Yes.
Absolutely dusted me.
Yes.
Whatever you think you are compared to a world-class athlete, male or female, you are not.
And this is my same thing that's much more on the micro level with you. You lift, and you're a former NFL guy.
Yeah.
And when we have been around each other in public, people size you up and do a thing where they think they can challenge you. And they're like 20, the 22-year-old kid that lifts and is like, I could outlift you. And it's like, do you understand how different it is to be even in, not, I don't mean at your age, but you're in your 40s.
I'm an old man.
No.
I got a lot of gray on
But
me.
in your 40s, and you can outlift most really in good shape 20-somethings.
Yes.
Because you have it genetically, and you've continued to do it for years.
Yes.
People don't realize, and then there's levels to this. I've talked to you about this too, that the elite athletes can ragdoll you, and it's not a shot at you. It's the reality of there's levels to this thing, and people really don't understand how big a gap there is in the levels.
I remember Ndamukong Suh coming in studio when he was getting ready to go to Nebraska. And that kid was like 18 years old, and I was probably in my late 20s at that time, whatever. And I remember seeing him and just being like, oh my God. I was like, someone in high school had to block you last year? Did you go to Grant or something?
Yep.
I just remember thinking to myself, what in God's green earth? Some poor bastard, some center or guard playing at Lincoln weighed 230 pounds and was like, I'm going to go out for the team. And they're like, yeah, here's Ndamukong Suh.
Hey, Mom, Dad, don't come to this game.
Yeah. Why don't we just go ahead and not do that? But I'm looking through the Olympic sports. It probably has to be curling. Simply because it's the only one that I can see that wouldn't be like physically demanding. It's a skill, but there's no physical. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be explosive. It has to be that. There's nothing else that even comes close. Maybe in the summer. I'm just looking at the winter games.
The hardest one has to be either the 100, especially being in America, has to either be the 100 because that automatically to qualify you have to be world level, or basketball. If you're good enough to make the American basketball team, I think those are the toughest, right? I mean,
hockey.
You think to make the American hockey team is harder
100% because
than making the NBA to make the Olympics?
How many people skate in our country versus how many people grow up playing basketball?
I think a lot more people play basketball.
Exactly. So
basketball would be harder.
No, I think hockey would be harder because it's like from you starting of not doing anything. You just said you have to go. Lots of people have played basketball, have had those movements. The idea of you learning how to skate would be it's impossible.
If you had a year from scratch, I'll give you
this. If I gave you 5-10 years learning to skate, that may be the most. And look, I'm a little biased because hockey's my favorite sport. There is nothing harder in sports than doing what those guys do on skates. Like when you go watch the Portland Winterhawks, that's a phenomenal. I mean, those kids are amazing. They're 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. If you go watch college hockey, you go watch AHL hockey, there's some really good players. And then you go watch an NHL game and you'll be like, what the F?
Yeah.
When you get down and you see how fast and the things they do, and just take everything you have to do in basketball, everything you have to do in football, the physicality of football, the speed and athleticism of basketball,
and add ice.
And you add ice, and now you're up on
and knives on your
and knives.
Skating on knives.
And you're like, hey, oh, and by the way, you have to do it backwards.
Yeah.
And people are trying to kill you, murder you.
That
fair.
to me,
that's fair.
I guess maybe like in the summer, maybe rowing. If you were in shape, couldn't you learn to be a rower?
Well, I was just thinking this basketball hockey one, because in basketball, if you could shoot and you were an automatic jump shooter, they could find time for you on the court. Whether you suck on defense or not, there's guys that just shoot threes and don't do anything else.
The politics of making the Olympic men's basketball team, you have to be so good. You have to be an NBA All-Star. I mean, we're talking like degrees of difficulty.
But maybe if you went for because I could go play for Sweden. My mom was born and raised in Sweden. Sweden's citizenship. So if I was like 6'7" and I played it like, let's take Steven over there. You played at Concordia. Let's say if we stretched you out a couple inches, could you go over to Sweden and be like, hey, I don't know how many Swedes play basketball. Maybe something like that.
You're not knock down a jumper.
You're not making the American team. I'm looking through this. I'm looking through the summer sports, and like there's archery, there's rowing. It's got to be something like shooting.
It has to be something where it's not peak athleticism.
Yeah.
In terms of your movements.
It's handball. I stand by my handball comment. I could have made the handball team.
Shooting, curling, those are like precision sports. You might have more of a chance than just pure athleticism.
Yeah. The one that I actually think might be the hardest that I'm looking through here might be wrestling. You ever seen Olympic wrestlers?
Yeah, that would be tough.
What? You want to talk about like taking someone that's never really done something? And I don't care.
Is golf an Olympic sport?
Yeah, golf's an Olympic sport.
That might be the easiest.
Yeah, if that's all you did is grind. Yeah. If you were a decent golfer.
And you just grinded for a couple years?
Yeah, again, no one's trying to like beat your brains in. Again, it's not the most athletic thing. But again, that gap. The difference between really good golfers, this whole conversation just goes to show you whatever you think you are good at, you are not.
We suck.
I tell people all the time, everyone thinks they're a shark and they're not. They're like a trout.
Breakdancing.
Yeah, breakdancing.
We saw the Australian.
Yeah, you know what?
There it is.
Give me a year. I could do as well as the Australian breakdancer.
I can see walk.
Everyone thinks they're a shark. In reality, we're all trouts. Occasionally, there's some people that are some salmon. And even the ones that are sharks, they think they're great whites. They're not. They're like mako sharks. They're like a nurse shark. And then, like, you think you're a badass, and then you get out into the open ocean, and you find out there's tiger sharks, there's hammerheads, and then, God forbid, you come across a great white. And even the ones that are great whites, then you realize that there's an orca out there that eats the liver of great whites and laughs at you.
Right.
And there's, like to be a orca, that's Indomitian Sue. Right. That's just, and so whatever you think you are, just take it down like 6 notches. And it's good every now and then to be humbled. Just every now and then, if you feel like it, go test yourself against someone that's like a mako shark and realize that you don't want to go out into open ocean. Maybe just stick to your weird little pond.
Stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Here's Steven with an update. We'll talk about something when we come back.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, NBA trade deadline is getting even hotter than yesterday. Dallas Mavericks, they are righting their wrongs and saying, we're done with it. They have agreed to trade all-star big man Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards in an 8-player trade. Mavs are going to send Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-rounders. Davis, he only played in 29 games for the Mavericks after being the main piece in the Luka Doncic trade last season. The Thunder, they are adding some more depth as well. They are acquiring 76ers guard Jared McCain for a first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold gave an update on his oblique injury. He said it feels really good, he told reporters today, and definitely the time off has helped a little bit. Looks like there'll be nothing to worry about for Darnold as the Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites over the Patriots in the big Super Bowl game. NFL insider Jay Glazer, he said the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders is not very good, and that Glazer expects the Raiders to trade Crosby for the NFL draft on April 23rd. And the Trailblazers lost their 5th straight game in a row last night to the Suns, 130-125. Blazers were up almost 20 in the first half, but ended up losing that game. Next up is the trade deadline. We'll see if the Blazers make any moves, but then a game on Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Stephen Vaughn from the George Okoye at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George Okoye at WarrenAllen.com.
Just watching some curling in here, getting Olympic fever. Will you watch you strike me as someone that will not watch 1 second of Olympic coverage. Yeah, that's a yes.
Yeah, I probably won't watch anything.
Steve, are you a Winter Olympics? Now, will you get any Olympics, or is it just the Winter Olympics you won't watch?
Oh, no, I love the Summer Olympics.
You love the Summer Olympics.
I love track and field. Okay. I used to go to the Prefontaine Classic every year.
I will say, yeah, the anything down in Eugene when they do the track and field trials or whatever, that's a cool time if you've never been down there. That's a cool event locally to go to. We did our show down there a couple years. That's a good time.
Yeah.
And I'll watch Olympic basketball, especially if the U.S. ends up playing like France.
Sure.
Or for a while there, it was Spain was the big rival.
So
I would watch those games.
Just the winter doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, I'm with Nemec. Winter doesn't really do anything for me. It's summer all the way.
Yeah, we don't really do a lot in our country with the winter sports.
Nah.
We got hockey. I love hockey, and
that's the one that I'll watch because I'm with you. Like playoff hockey, like I'm not a big hockey fan, but when it's playoff hockey, it is insanely awesome to watch. And the Olympics is the same type of thing.
Figure skating, right? I think that's the mark. The figure skating seems to be the marquee one for the Winter Games. Like we get the most. You get your Michelle Kwans and the. I feel like that's the one where the most stars come out of, and they're all just manufactured. Like someone on Wheaties tells you that you're supposed to root for this person and go Olympics, and right. Figure skating, that seems to be the big one. Occasionally we get like a speed skater that we're told to care about. We're basically told who we're supposed to care about by our Olympic sponsors.
Yeah, someone's going to tell me, yeah.
There's usually hype going in. I don't feel like that. No. Normally we know who the figure skaters are that qualify. In fact, often the figure skating trials to make the Olympic team is kind of a thing. And you see who the top 3 were that get in, and then there's an alternate, and that's crushing for that person. I don't feel like we saw any of that this year.
It is so true, because normally around this time, you'll start seeing ads like Xfinity or Coca-Cola, who's ever the official partner of the Olympics, just starts shoving these people down your throat, and it's like, hey, you need to care about this. And then we get like their backstory, and one of them was an orphan, and one of them had like a club foot, or they overcame like a speech impediment or something. There's always some sort of like feel-good humanity story, and then we're told like why we should care about them. I don't know anyone. The only one I know is Lindsey Vonn, and she just blew out her ACL. I don't know a single other Olympic winter athlete that I've seen pushed.
Chloe Kim is a really good snowboarder. I imagine she's in.
I would assume.
Because she's really famous.
Well,
she's the only like
and
snowboarder.
she's dating Myles Garrett. And this is another reason why I know her. My daughter talks to me a lot about her. My daughter always wants to know who's like the best player in the NFL, and she's fascinated that guy is. She just like, who's the guy? She's Chloe Kim's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. That's how she knows.
Okay.
That's how she knows Myles Garrett.
I read in this article of Winter Olympic athletes to watch for America, and there's a figure skater, Alyssa Liu. She is now 20 years, this is what it says, now 20 years old and back from a surprise retirement from the ice at the age of 16.
Retired at 16?
Yeah, she's back. Surprise entry at 20 years old.
Alyssa Liu?
Yeah. I have not heard of any of America's 3 women's figure skaters.
No.
If I made up a 4th name, you wouldn't know which one was real. So there's Amber Glenn, Alyssa Liu, and Isabeau Levito. And those are really the names. I mean, I might be pronouncing them wrong, but those are supposed to be the names. I've never heard of any of those 3 athletes in my life.
Because you think about it, like Michael Phelps or Paulo Anton Ono or any of those others that kind of Simone Biles. Not that we don't look. Simone Biles is greatness, but if Simone Biles wasn't hawking every product known to man, would anyone outside of like the diehard gymnastics fans, and there's like 12 of them, would any of those people actually care? I mean, that's where you make all your money on the Olympics. You don't make any money in the U.S. for doing anything in the Olympics. You just get sponsorships behind it.
Correct.
And so that the sponsors push it.
There's an article from the USA Today that this is the greatest U.S. women's Olympic figure skating team in nearly 25 years. That's the headline.
Then how do we not know any of them?
Christine Brennan wrote it, and she's a fairly famous journalist.
Yeah, she wrote for like USA Today.
She writes for USA Today. That's where the article's from. The headline is, "This is the greatest U.S. women's Olympic figure skating team in nearly 25 years." Could have fooled me. Because I've never heard any of them.
No. Well, I just thought, like, normally I like the Olympics. I don't mind them. Like, I don't really care. I don't understand I think the whole thing is just crooked as all get out. Have you seen, like, what it costs to put these games on, and then we just end up with all these arenas that end up rotting, and there should be, like, 2 cities in the world that host them, and they should just rotate.
Yes. Because,
like, you see all around the world now where, like, a week after the Olympics are done, all those places rot. Like, the ones in Brazil, World Cup is the same thing.
Yes.
It's like the greatest scam ever. Like, these countries that have no money spend billions of dollars. They build all this crap. It's like really, really shoddily done. And then it's there for like 2 weeks, and the people of the city are on the hook for it. And then it's over. And yet you still have these cities that compete for it. It honestly seems criminal. It seems like just like the greatest theft for a city that you can have.
I think we have now Bum Voyage addendum, being that, get on your ships, get on your yachts, your abandoned boats, and sail them to wherever those abandoned stadiums are and live there.
Yeah.
And build communities.
It's really sad.
There's your solution. There's your next step of where the homeless go.
The ones in Greece are really bad. And like at least the ones like in California, like you can probably find something to do with that. I know when they had it down in Atlanta, a lot of those turned into like Georgia Tech. They used that for some of their facilities. Salt Lake was able to repurpose some of those. But when it goes to countries like Greece and Brazil that are like literally struggling and are poor countries, Russia was one of those. Look into the Russian games. They're saying that those were those expensive winter games of all time, and no one can figure out what happened to the money.
Have you seen the Colosseum in Rome? That thing is falling apart.
Well, and I guess I want to pivot to this because I did want to get to this. This is kind of a natural pivot, so we'll talk about this when we come back. Maybe we'll carry it over into the 4 o'clock hour. I saw it today. I guess I didn't know what it took to get a Super Bowl. Because what it takes to get the Olympics or the World Cup is just bribes. If you just bribe enough people and you're willing to rip off taxpayers, you can get one. That's all it takes. The NFL has a 150-plus page application that you have to fill out to get a Super Bowl. And some of the things that are in this are going to be shocking to you. Like, it is the most one-sided agreement. If you want to know why the NFL's salary cap has gone up $100 million in the last 4 years, it's because of this, that you have cities fighting for this. So I want to talk about what it takes to actually get a Super Bowl when we come back. 105.1 The Fan.
This is the play.
Well, Rob is back tomorrow, and that means that on Friday, be a second show back, in theory, barring the immune system going haywire. And we will be on the road for a souped-up Friday edition of Primetime. So join us and Tullamore Dew for the Tullamore Dew Football Festival, 3 to 7 at Kells Brewery. We're going to be at the one on 21st in Northwest, not the one on downtown. This Friday, February 6th. Get ready for Sunday's big game with Primetime at Kells on the 21st. Tullamore Dew will have giveaways throughout the show, including tickets to Portland's biggest St. Patrick's Day celebration, the Summer Smoker and Irish Fest, which you should definitely go to. That thing is a freaking kick-ass time. So join us 3 to 7, the Tullamore Dew Football Fest at Kells on 21st. Come say hi. I wanted to get to this, but we're up against it, so we'll tread water here, and then when we come back, I will talk about what it takes to get a Super Bowl. Because we were mentioning the other day, like, when will fans and communities have enough? Bill Oram had a piece, and we might have Bill on at some point this week to talk about it. The Moda Center, if you don't know, Jody Allen and the Vulcans sold the Moda Center back to the city of Portland for like $1. They're like, you guys take it. And they own the land underneath it, but the city owns the building. And the building is up for renovation to the tune of about $600 million. Because to get a new one of these built is going to be problematic. Where do you put it? So the idea is that maybe the biggest facelift that you could do, that's the thing that would ensure Portland stays in town. And you had an article in there about kind of the battle that's coming with Tom Dundon coming in. Remember, Tom Dundon and the people are rich. They are not FU rich. This is not a group that has $50 billion. Jeff Bezos didn't buy this. The Waltons didn't buy this. This is a rich man, but not a man that has unlimited funds.
They're not going to Jerry Jones this thing.
No. And I would also like to point out that even the people that have a lot of money tend to want people to build their own stadiums. I've always said that the biggest farce in sports is that billionaires build public stadiums that aren't public but use public money.
Yes.
I mean, it's ridiculous. You have families that are worth $10 billion and they get communities to pony up $2, $3, $4, $5 billion to build these things, and then all the profits stay with the billionaires.
Right.
And there is going to be a battle here coming in Portland because they are going to be asking for hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion plus. We in Portland tend to be one of those people that are going to be like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. This is kind of like what we're talking about here with the Super Bowl. I guess I didn't fully understand what it took to land a Super Bowl. I was always under the impression that if you are in LA, if you're in New Orleans, Miami, Atlanta, you get a Super Bowl. Because they want it in domes, they want it in warm weather. But we've seen it in recent years that if you build a new stadium, right? Minnesota, New York, Vegas, you'll get a Super Bowl. Hey, if you find a way to build a $3 or $4 billion stadium, we're going to give you a Super Bowl. I just kind of assumed that was like a handshake sort of deal. Well, it turns out that is not the case. Because much like billionaire owners demanding public money, the NFL, which makes billions upon billions upon billions of dollars every single year, apparently has 150 plus page writer that you have to fill out an application form in order to be considered for a Super Bowl. And when you see what the NFL asks and gets, and this isn't like one or two cities, every one of these cities fights every year to get the Super Bowl. You are going to be stunned at how one-sided this is, slanting towards the NFL.
Mariah Carey has famously at different times asked for 20 white kittens and 100 white doves. Based on what I've read so far, the NFL has also asked for their 20 white kittens and 100 white doves in just a different form, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, because if you think it's just about stadiums, no, we're getting to golf courses, bowling alleys, and everything else, and entertainment expenses. We'll talk about that when we come back. Hour 2 coming up here on The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, NBA trade deadline really getting warm today as the Mavericks have agreed to trade 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards in a 8-player trade. Mavs will send Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum to Washington. Dallas gets Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-rounders as well. Davis only played in 29 games for the Mavs after being the main piece in the Luka Doncic trade, but the Mavericks wanted to end that. They just said, let's just end it and send him to Washington. The Thunder, they're adding a little more depth to their roster. They're trading for former first-round pick of the Philadelphia 76ers, Jared McCain. Thunder will send Philadelphia a first-round pick and 3 second-round picks in exchange for Jared McCain. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold gave an update on his oblique injury today. He said it feels really good, and definitely the time off has helped a little bit. Looks like there'll be nothing to worry about for the quarterback as the Seahawks 4.5-point favorites over the Patriots in the Super Bowl on Sunday. NFL insider Jake Glazer said today that the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders is not looking very good and that he expects the Raiders to trade Crosby before the NFL draft on April 23rd. Trailblazers lost their 5th straight game last night to the Suns, 130-125. Blazers were up 19 in the first half, end up losing it. Next up is the trade deadline. We'll see if the Blazers do anything. Trade deadline is tomorrow at noon, but then the next game is Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Stephen Vaughn from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and messy work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live.
Welcome in, 1 down, 3 to go. Talking a little Super Bowl and what it actually takes to land a Super Bowl. Look, it's the biggest event in the country. And outside of probably the World Cup every 4 years, you could argue the Olympics in totality, it's the biggest event in the world. I mean, certainly in our country, we don't have anything that sniffs it. I mean, every year you get 120 million plus people that watch this thing. NBC will generate more than $700 million in advertising just from this game alone. Luxury suites go for over $1 million a piece. I didn't see this up until today. I guess the San Jose airport, which is where people are going to fly into, that's closer to Santa Clara than going into SFO. So they're expecting on game day alone somewhere between 150 and 200 private jets that will land at the San Jose airport. And I guess if you're planning on landing there, you have to pay, depending on the size of your jet, between $10,000 and $20,000 for a permit just to land there on Super Bowl Sunday, which I think is a fun little. It's a fun little. I'm guessing that goes into the city of San Jose's pocket.
An intriguing little revenue stream.
Well, did you know that you had to pay to land your plane?
How much you have to pay to land your plane there, Sook?
It makes sense.
Mine's more than yours.
Exactly, right? Do you think that turns
It's
into
like the ultimate flex.
That turns into a demeasuring contest? Like two rich guys are talking. The guy's like, "Do you believe I got to pay 10?" And the guy's like, 10?
What 20, bro?
What sort of BS plane are you riding, bitch? 20 G's.
If you think about it, as you mentioned, I think for the Rose Bowl you mentioned that you park a mile and a half away and it's $100.
$100.
As you get closer, it ends up being $250.
Yes.
It would make sense that a plane with there's limited space to park a plane and land a plane, it would make sense you'd have to pay a premium on parking for those compared to a car. I mean, it does make sense.
I had no idea. Look, I've never flown on a private plane. I don't own a private plane. I never will own a private plane. I had no idea that you had to pay. I assumed that that's just taxpayer money, that if you want to land a plane, you just have to call ahead and be like, yeah, I'm scheduling a flight and I'm landing at your airport. I wasn't aware. I would also like to know, do they do that specifically for the Super Bowl? Like if I'm landing at the San Jose airport, normally is it like $1,000?
I think it's less, yeah.
But now the Super Bowl hits and it's like, yeah, we're going to need 20 G's to land this plane.
Premium parking, man.
So I guess there is a 154 page bid submission that you as a city has to fill out in order to get it.
Okay.
And the NFL can still tell you to F off. Some people think that this may be the last Super Bowl in San Francisco because of the infrastructure is kind of wonky.
Some people.
I think most
people.
People aren't thrilled that because it's so spread out that I guess for everyone it's like an hour or two to get anywhere on the buses, and people aren't real happy about it. And this may signal the end of Super Bowls in San Francisco. And the weather isn't that great there. It can't guarantee it. So there's, a
lot of people are saying this San Francisco Super Bowl is diarrhea.
Yeah, not real happy about it. So these are some of the requirements. And by the way, there's like 50 of these things. We can't go through all 50, but I'll give you just some. So the NFL, these are all things that you have to agree to. And I'm telling you, the NFL gets everything. The NFL gets to use the Super Bowl stadium rent-free for 30 days before the game and 24 days after the game. 54 days, completely free of charge. So you can have nothing there. No concerts, nothing.
Yeah.
54 days, NFL gets
Why
it.
do you need the 24 days after?
I don't know.
Like you'd think to take things down, maybe you need a week.
But 24
days is a long time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl stadium must have at least 70,000 seats. Duh. And if the city is located in a historically average daily temperature over a 10-year period where the game is below 50 degrees, it must have a dome. And if the NFL decides to make a weather-related exemption, they did it with MetLife Stadium, at no cost to the NFL, the stadium has to have under-field heating system installed before they'll even consider it.
Right.
So you have to tear up the field, put in a warmer, and do that.
To even submit the application.
Right.
Right.
The NFL gets to set the ticket prices and receives 100% of ticket revenue. As for the ticket allocations, the two participating teams each get 17.5% of the total tickets. The host team receives 5%. So the Niners got 5%.
Great.
And then the 29 other NFL teams each receive 1.2%. And then the NFL controls the remaining 25%. Mm-hmm. Still doesn't matter because the NFL gets 100% of the ticket revenue.
Right.
So even the stuff that the Seahawks sell, it doesn't matter. It goes to the NFL. It doesn't go to the Seahawks.
Right. We control 13% of the tickets, but 100% of the money. You can sell them to whoever you want as long as the money comes back to us.
How insane is that?
That is weird.
Here's your tickets.
Why do they even get an allotment then?
I guess just to make sure that the right people are there. The right people, the season ticket holders.
Yes.
The city must provide the NFL with not one, not two, but 3 championship level 18-hole golf courses. I'm not kidding. And 2 top quality bowling alleys free of charge, all for use during the month leading up to the Super Bowl at their disposal. Free of charge.
You know that skit about all he does is zip line?
Yeah.
I could just see some like NFL exec just being in the bowling alley and being like, he's bowled 75 games this week. It's like, we need you at some of these conferences. All you care about is the bowling. Shut up, Mike.
So like the Olympic golf course where they've had like the US Open and the PGA, that's in San Francisco. You know there's someone from the NFL that has played that course now 32 times.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
showed up a month early and just walks on. They're like, really? He's like, yeah. You got a problem with this? Take it up with the NFL. What else we got? The NFL can cover or remove ATM machines inside the Super Bowl stadium if they conflict with its preferred payment partner. This also applies to anything else. So, if the official soda of the NFL is Coca-Cola, but the stadium has Pepsi, at no cost to the NFL, that stadium must remove all Coca-Cola products and signage and replace it with Pepsi or whatever beer or whatever sponsor you want.
Now, I've seen this with the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
When the NCAA tournament is presented by Powerade and there's the little button that's Gatorade, you see it like taped over.
Yeah.
I've seen that at the NCAA tournament.
When we went to the NCAA tournament once, they have other beverages that they sell. But if you want to go to your seat, there's a Powerade cup. I think Powerade was the sponsor. They made you take your drink and pour it into a Powerade cup, and they were like
sticklers.
They were not messing around.
Yeah,
they were not messing around about it. I like this one too. The host city must provide the NFL with sales tax exemption on all revenue generated from everything. Ticket sales, parking fees, merchandise, and all NFL level events. They will not pay one dime in sales tax. So like in California is the most taxed state in the country.
Yeah.
And they have the jock tax. So the athletes that are playing in the Super Bowl right now, they will be taxed their salary based on playing in that Super Bowl.
In California. Correct. Yeah.
But at no point will the NFL pay $1 in tax from the Super Bowl. That's how great this is.
Don't they also have to give up multiple hotels for free?
Oh, it's getting there.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, we're just scratching.
I'm
So what
sorry.
you're saying is
sorry.
Portland can't have a Super Bowl, is what you're saying?
No chance.
I don't
None.
think we don't have 3 championship level courses, dude.
Do you have enough bowling alleys?
I don't think we have the bowling alleys
There's
or
Milwaukee Bowl.
I would love to know. So
Next to Pietro's Pizza.
so we would be able to do
That's a twofer right there.
so we'd be able to do Pumpkin Ridge, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Is that
Here's the thing.
do we have
count,
one?
can we count Bandit in there? Or?
I think that's too far away.
Listen, you guys are
I think we got one, and I don't know about the bowling alleys.
you guys
Tiger Bowl.
You guys are being really negative here. All Portland has to do is build a football stadium with 70,000 plus.
Okay.
Come up with some higher end hotels that they can give away for free.
Oh, yeah, right
build
downtown.
a couple of golf courses. Make sure that the stadium they build, because we're going to be below the 50-degree threshold at this time of year, so we'll have to put in the heating,
We got a dome.
or build a dome.
Dome.
We're close.
We're there.
We're almost there.
Dude, we got to get started on these bowling alleys. I don't think if we have a quality bowling alley.
I think that's the problem.
I think that is the problem. I think it's what's holding us back. Do we have we have one golf course, and you could probably make the argument like Columbia Edgewater,
Right.
or like Royal Oaks across the river, like maybe Portland Golf Club.
Riverside.
Riverside gets a little
It's a
rowdy.
Holly.
That's our Arizona. That's our
Scott.
TPC. We get a little wild out there at Riverside.
We may not have bowling alleys, but can I interest you in the Chuck E. Cheese Ski Bowl of Portland?
I will tell you that I think from a strip club perspective, I think we'd be
Pretty good.
I think we'd be pretty good because that's not in the official rider, but it should be because the players are going to demand strip
Look,
clubs.
we can't give you good stadium, but we got strip clubs everywhere.
Robert Kraft is like, Portland, hear me out. The massage parlors and
Hey,
strip clubs.
I'll tell you what. You go down 82nd. We got massage parlors for days. We just send everyone that we get like an NFL shuttle that just takes you down 82nd.
That's the recruiting pitch.
That's the recruiting pitch. Go down 82nd, dude. We got Thai massage on every other corner.
Free massages for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's the same skit instead of zip line for Robert Kraft. All he keeps
All
doing
you
is
get.
going to the 82nd massage places.
Hey.
We haven't seen him in a week.
Just get on Division and cross over the 205. You'll be fine. That's how we do it.
Oh, boy.
Dude, we haven't even scratched the surface. When we come back, we'll get through at least 10 more of these. Because yes, wait till you get to the hotels. And my favorite part about it, my favorite one is the entertainment trip for NFL executives. That when we come back here on The Fan. We're talking about the requirements to host a Super Bowl. These are things that the city, to even submit a bid, you have to agree to. And it just keeps getting better and better. Because you mentioned the housing, and we'll get to that, but this might be my favorite one. Because when you talk about abuse of power, I remember years ago, the Fiesta Bowl ran into a scandal where the guys that ran the Fiesta Bowl had racked up like close to $1 million in fraudulent expenses, including like several $100,000s at strip clubs. And when asked to explain it, the guy who was running the Fiesta Bowl said they needed to familiarize themselves with those places. That way they could make sure that the players and the coaches stayed away from those places.
Oh, smart.
It was brilliant. Right, guys, I'm hanging out at the strip clubs with the whores just so we can then tell people, don't go there.
I went to my mistress's bedroom to make sure that no husband
That's right.
spent time in the mistress's bedroom.
So I love this one. 16 months before the Super Bowl, the NFL will send 180 people to the host city. By the way, I would love to know who gets to be amongst that 180 people.
How to get these jobs?
Exactly. So they go to the city for a trip to familiarize themselves with the region. And the host city must cover, and it doesn't say what the expenses are. It just says that it must cover all expenses for this trip, including lodging, food, and, quote, entertainment and travel. I would love to know the entertainment budget for 180 people for the familiarize yourself with the region.
Prostitutes.
I want to be on that trip.
Sorry, I had a cough there.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, take it easy.
The NFL must be allocated 50% of all luxury suites, no less than 70, by the way, and at least 75% of these suites must be between the end lines, with 33 suites on the press box and 4 suites at the 50-yard line. The 4 best suites go to the participating teams, the league's broadcast partner, and Commissioner Goodell. So that's just that. Now we get into the housing stuff, which I'm a big fan of here. The host city must provide 40 3-bedroom, 50 2-bedroom, 21 bedroom apartments for 30 to 40 days for working staff such as production, security. The apartment must be within a 20-minute drive to the stadium and have amenities such as Wi-Fi, full kitchens, washer, dryer facilities, televisions, bedrooms, and a workout facility on the property. All of this, by the way, for free.
Right.
Not one dime will be spent on this.
How do you make money then? I get that the Super Bowl is very valuable and brings people to your city, but if you can't make any money on the hotels, but I guess the hotels are only for
it's just
the NFL.
It's just 1,000 rooms,
folks.
Because the hotels, the NFL requires a hotel with a minimum 1,000 rooms for their use. So you have to have a hotel that basically says, we're going to give you 1,000 rooms for free. Each fully stocked, beer, snacks, internet, meeting space, parking, storage, all for free. 1,000 rooms.
That's nuts.
What else we got here? Oh, if cell phone strength at the team hotel is too weak, the host committee can install boosters and erect portable cell phone towers, all at the cost of the host city. Hotel makeover. Hotels where the players stay must carry the NFL network on their cable TV systems for 1 year prior to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
The host city must give the NFL use of at least 20 billboards in prominent locations within 20 minutes of the stadium, free of charge. The city must cover the expenses for the providing NFL teams with a task force specifically for game day ticket counterfeiters and counterfeit merchandise. You have to provide police department simply to avoid counterfeiters. Also,
so can you just turn in Fanatics for cheap, crappy gear?
Is that
just be like, it's not officially counterfeit, but like we all know what's going on here.
Get out of here.
It feels and looks counterfeit. It must be counterfeit.
By the way, if you buy, and we have this in the notes at some point, if you buy something from Fanatics, dude, that's on you. That might be the worst company in America.
Oh, it's horrible.
And people are starting to realize, and yet they own like every sports contract. Do not buy anything from Fanatics.
Have you seen the Super Bowl jerseys, by the way?
Oh,
I know we'll get into it.
Yeah, it's the biggest sham.
Unbelievable.
$160, by the way, for a replica jersey that is of piss poor quality that you're not even going to get the one that you ordered because they ran out of them.
Yeah.
Police escorts. There will be all police, by the way, paid for by the city. The NFL will pay for none of it. Police escorts must be provided to the team, media, and game officials to and from airport, practice facilities, game, and entertainment runs, all at no cost. On game day, the NFL gets access to 35,000 parking spots. Near the stadium, no cost. Also, by the way, those parking spots to the NFL, they can sell those for $500 to $1,000.
See, some of this stuff is just literally like here's other ways for us to get money.
Yeah.
And we get to control getting as much money as we want.
The host city has to create a clean zone, a 1 mile radius around the stadium where certain activities are restricted for over a week before the game until the Monday or Tuesday after, basically meaning that no one can do anything that the NFL doesn't approve of.
Are those activities the entertainment that they experienced the month before?
The NFL
That's the clean zone?
The NFL can tell you what you can and cannot do around the stadium for a clean zone. And then the ultimate souvenir, after the game, the host city must remove the playing field at its own expense. And if the league requests it, you have to give those pieces back to the NFL so they can sell them as licensed product. So even afterwards, you have to cut up the field and give it to them so they can in turn sell it. And by the way, like this list goes on. We could do this for an hour.
Oh, it's insane.
It just keeps going insane. On and on.
I gave up on trying to read the whole thing, but you've hit most of the bullet points that I found to be.
Yeah, I tried to find the ones that are like, holy God.
It's unbelievable what they have in there. I mean, I think the craziest thing is controlling the stadium for not counting the day of 54 days. So 55 days in total with the Super Bowl. That's insane. Yeah, you can hold concerts and other events at those places for revenue. It just shuts down a stadium for 2 months that, again, the public paid for.
Yeah. There was one I found, like when Minneapolis had theirs in New York, because it was in cold weather, the NFL had sole discretion of snow removal and road conditions. So if there was a blizzard or something that happened in the city of Minneapolis, the NFL would get to decide what resources were used to clean the roads around their facilities.
Super Bowl transit first.
Yes.
What about the hospitals?
No.
Super Bowl transit.
I mean, that's serious. Like, that's one of the things that's in there for a cold weather city. You have to basically give the NFL control of your roads. I mean, and some of the stuff is specific for like individual places. Advertising, the NFL experience, you get, I guess that they're calling them ratings points. So the NFL requires you to have 1,500 ratings points on TV stations. So you think about, like, if you have a show that gets like a 4 point whatever. So the NFL requires local TV stations to spend 1,500 radio points on TV stations advertising the Super Bowl. As if the Super Bowl needs advertising.
Especially at the local level. You definitely need to advertise the Super Bowl.
Bowl's here.
Otherwise, people would have no idea.
I can't imagine it does, but does this deter any cities to not wanting the Super Bowl?
Oh, I'm sure. I bet there's a couple of cities that are like, we are not doing all this crap.
I don't know. I mean, it's a fight. It's a fight.
It seems like everyone wants a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what?
Like, Portland, you build the stadium for the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know.
But like, I would like.
Let's hold firm.
So if you're San Francisco, like when it comes to this TV stuff, so you also need 20 pages of color ads in local newspapers. You need a 12-page fan guide inserted twice into the local newspaper, 250 live or pre-recorded radio spots on 6 local TV stations. So I want to know, so do you just go to the local NBC station and be like, we want, like, who pays for that?
Well, not the NFL.
Not the NFL. But like I'm assuming that the local barrier at NBC isn't giving up free advertising. So like, does the city then just be on the hook for that? The team,
have to be.
Yes.
I just love that none of this stuff is paid for, but someone has to pay for it.
It's literally the mob coming in and just saying, we're going to do this, you're going to pay us this, and we're going to do exactly what we want when we want.
Taking the 10,000-foot view and going back to a conversation from earlier this week, this is why you can't just throw money. Like, Live can't just throw money and overspend the PGA.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that's ingrained in having a PGA event, in having the Super Bowl, it ensures success. We own your city for 60 days. And there's nothing you can do. We control the roads, we control the hotels, we control the apartments, we control the golf courses,
we control the media.
We control the strip clubs, we control the media. I mean, good luck breaking through that. And that's why that idea of too big to fail is present, because they've now established this level of reign over a city when you get the Super Bowl.
I was watching the Grammys, and they were doing a bit. Bad Bunny, whatever you think of him, Bad Bunny is the most streamed and watched artist in the world.
He was the most streamed artist in the world every single day in the month of January.
Yes. So that is the definition of a global superstar. He could not perform at the Grammys because the NFL will not allow him to perform before, or there's a window where the performer is not allowed to perform anywhere else. Build in anticipation. Because Bad Bunny is like, nope, you're not doing anything.
And if I'm correct, they don't pay the performers.
No, they do not.
It's all free.
Yes.
They perform for free, right?
Yes. So they give you like a small little stipend to cover. And I have a friend of mine who was involved in the Dr. Dre Snoop Dogg Super Bowl. And they give you like a pittance. And then the artist and the label have to come up. People spend millions upon millions of dollars for these halftime shows of their own money because of the
it's worth it because they get all the streams afterwards.
But yes, the NFL does not pay for halftime.
The Weeknd fully released his number for the halftime show. He spent upwards of $7 million
of his own money.
Yeah.
And you wonder why the NFL is the 800-pound gorilla. It's this. And they do it in every single stadium, and every single market is fighting tooth and nail to get one of these. What it's worth to the sea, I don't know. It's the same thing with the Olympics. I don't know what the value is. I'm sure for businesses and bars and the hotel, I'm sure there's so much money that comes in over the 2 weeks. Does it pencil out? I don't know. You'd have to find some city planner or someone that's deep into the economic numbers. I just find it fascinating that the NFL, you mentioned, it's the mob.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You're going to say no?
Yeah, we're going to do this, this, and this, and if you don't do it, they will. It's the same thing with stadiums. Yeah. How does a family worth $10 billion get a community to give them $2 billion to build the stadium, and then they get to keep all the money? Because if you don't do it, someone else will. And that's the Blazer thing. I'm telling you, in the next 4 years, we are going to face this. Tom Dundon is going to come in, and he is going to ask the people of Portland somewhere in the tune of $600 to $1 billion. And if they don't pony that up, my guess is that will be used as leverage to,
It's what happened to Seattle.
Yes.
That's how the Supersonics moved to OKC.
Yeah.
It's not that people think Oklahoma City is a better city to host the NBA.
They were willing to pay.
Seattle. They were willing to pay, and Seattle said no.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it at some point, because there is a day of reckoning coming with the Blazers. It's not going to happen immediately, but I think there's 4 years left before some sort of decision has to get made. And I don't know a lot about Tom Dundon, but I will tell you, in the world of sports, I haven't seen many billionaires that like paying for their own stadiums. That much I do know. When we come back in the news.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, NBA trade deadline getting hot and heavy as the Mavericks have agreed to trade 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards in part of an 8-player trade. Mavs will send Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum to Washington, while the Mavericks receive Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. Davis only played 29 games for the Mavericks after being the main piece in that Luka Doncic trade, but Dallas just wanted to get it done. Philadelphia 76ers are trading guard Jared McCain to Oklahoma City Thunder. McCain was a former first-round pick a season ago, but has struggled this year. In exchange, OKC giving Philadelphia a first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold, he gave an update today on his oblique injury. He said it feels really good, and definitely the time off has helped a little bit. Looks like there will be nothing to worry about for Darnold, as the Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites over the Patriots on Sunday in the Super Bowl. NFL insider Jake Glazer said today that the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders is not very good, and he expects that the Raiders may trade Crosby before the NFL draft on April 23rd. And the Trailblazers, they lost their 5th straight game last night to the Suns, 130-125. Blazers were up 19 in the first half, end up losing the game outright. Next up is the trade deadline. We'll see if the Blazers make a move. Then they have a game on Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Stephen Vaughn from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The
We're cruising along here on a unseasonably warm Wednesday. I don't know if you've seen, but apparently we're breaking temperature records. We're up in the 60s. We had a little bit of rain, but we got no snow, and that's not necessarily a good thing. No cold weather coming. So we're going to get in the news here and some bad news for you ski folks out there. But it is February 2nd, the year of our Lord 2026, and that means it is time for In the News. I'm your Noted News contributor, sitting in one more day for your Noted News man. Isaac Robb should be back tomorrow. We think. That's the goal. It is National Sweater Day. I do enjoy a good sweater. As I've gotten older, I've transitioned from a lot of sweatshirts into sweaters. The casual sweater I'm a big fan of. Kind of like that surf ski sweater, kind of a little old, beat up, maybe a nice motorcycle sweater. You do a lot worse than soft, comfortable sweaters.
Agreed. Totally agree. Nothing to add. And I did used to enjoy a weird print Cosby sweater. You can't wear a Cosby sweater anymore.
Did he ruin the Cosby sweater for everybody?
Absolutely, he did. Well, it was that and the rape.
Well, I hadn't really thought about that. But yeah, I guess if I did see a Cosby sweater, it does kind of... It's like the Hitler mustache.
Yeah.
You can't...
Exactly.
Only Jordan could pull it off at this point.
Jordan is the only man to ever wear the Hitler mustache and like have it work.
It didn't work. He just tried it.
Dude, that dude sold like hot dogs wearing a Hitler mustache and no one had a problem with it. That's how powerful Michael Jordan was.
He could roll out if there was a Jordan logo on a Cosby sweater, that thing is selling out in minutes.
Yeah, I don't see the Cosby sweater anymore.
True. No, they're gone.
Yeah, interesting. It is also National Girls and Women in Sports Day, so go Sports Bra and all the girls out there playing sports. It's women's sports. In my 20-plus years of doing this, I have not seen anything grow quite like women's sports. I mean, the last, say 5 to 10 years, there has been a boom. I've not seen anything close to the growth in any other realm of sports than what I've seen over the last handful of years.
Have you had a favorite women's sports team, franchise, moment, era?
I just think the women's soccer team wrote me in.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was probably my first real indoctrination into women's sports.
Yeah.
The first full soccer game I ever watched was in college, the Brandy Chastain World Cup game.
Oh yeah.
That was the first. Now granted, girls were over at my house and I was just doing it because they wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those numbers.
I used to watch The Notebook a lot in college in the dorms.
Yeah. We had some volleyball players over and it was like, you guys want to watch this? I'll watch this because I'm watching it with you.
Yeah.
But that was probably my first, that might have been the first soccer game I ever watched all the way through.
Okay.
And I think that was probably my first dip into it. So I would say that when the women come around to the World Cup, that's probably the thing that I get most into when it comes to women's sports.
My favorite sports team ever on the women's side of things was the Oregon City girls basketball team that won back-to-back national championships. Ashley Smith, Lindsay Yamasaki, Brianne Meharry, coached by Brad Smith, the most dominant program maybe ever in one of the big sports. They won everything and
never
they won
lost to a team in the state of Oregon for 4 years.
They beat the boys team. They scrimmaged the boys team and they beat them. They were that good.
My youngest son is friends with one of the ladies that was on that team, so we talk about those teams all the time with her.
Ashley Smith was my babysitter when I was a to So
yeah.
Anyway,
that was Mark Campbell at
phenomenal.
TCU.
What's up?
Isn't she married to Mark Campbell, TCU?
Yeah.
Yep. Mark was my assistant coach at CCC.
Okay, good deal.
The women's basketball has not roped me in the way it has others. I support it because obviously I have daughters and I love the fact that they're having their moment and that the sport's growing and people are investing in it. Everyone should get an opportunity to make a living doing that. Here and not abroad. That was an embarrassment that those women had to go over to play Russia to make any real money.
Yeah.
The game of women's basketball doesn't grab me the way it does some other sports. Like women's tennis I can watch. I think women's volleyball is really interesting. The College World Series softball ropes me in.
Yeah.
And I mentioned I love women's soccer. We go to a bunch of the Thorns games. There's just something about the game of women's basketball, and this isn't like the knuckle dragging, I hate women's sports.
How come they can't dunk?
No,
Yeah,
it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't grab me the way some other. It's probably one of my least favorite women's sports, but it's probably not probably. It's the most popular women's sport, but it just doesn't grab me.
I think they market it really, really poorly. I think they center the wrong athletes. I think there's a lot of infighting. There's been a lot of bullying of Caitlin Clark. When LeBron James came into the league, you didn't get people actively bullying him. Now, I'm sure they said stuff to him on the court,
sure,
but in terms of the way he was marketed and embraced by the league, when a young star comes up in the NBA, they put him in a spotlight.
Yeah.
Now, that fades if you don't perform, Ja Morant, but if you perform, that continues.
Where it feels like the women's game has
In the
kind of kicked her down
WNBA,
and said, take your medicine.
They want to bully you into you have to earn this, and it's like, so you're gonna bully me and tell Okay, well, here's a sold-out arena while you trip me as I try to go through the lane. It's just...
Well, they better figure it out.
That part's not
They have
so
a
good.
lot of momentum right now, and that work stoppage that they're facing is going to be killing.
Well, I thought the owner's pitch of who cares nothing was intriguing.
It's not good.
Yikes.
I mentioned the warm weather here. While it's awesome that I'm wearing short sleeves today and it's 60 degrees outside, it is not good for our ski season. Early February, Oregon ski season should be hitting its stride, but across the state, lack of snow and unseasonably warm temperatures has been an absolute killer, and now another ski resort has suspended its operation, and we don't know when it's going to kick back up. So Ski Bowl this weekend made the announcement Sunday night was the last night, and ski operations would close down. So Ski Bowl has nothing going on right now other than cosmic tubing. Other ski resorts in the area can't keep all the lifts open. So right now, Mount Hood Meadows, 6 of the 11 are operating right now, and they're hoping to be able to hold on to that. Timberline, the base is 60 inches lower than normal. 5 out of the 9 were available. Elsewhere in the Cascades, Willamette Pass has 2 of the 6 lifts that are open, and only 1 out of 30 trails. And it's bad. It's bad out there, and I guess when you look at the forecast over the next week or two, there's no more snow that appears to be coming.
Yikes!
So it is not good, and we were one of the few places, we talked about this a couple weeks ago with Rob. You know, at one point we were the only state in the country where you could ski year round.
I did know that, yeah.
And right now we can't even keep ski lifts open. So I know we're all enjoying the nice weather here, but for our ski bros up there and for those businesses, it is absolutely brutal right now. We come back, our self-driving cars on the way here in our fair city, and shockingly enough, another budget crisis and roofs getting blown off. That in the news when we come back. Welcome in. Headlines coming up here at the top of the hour. Club at 6. We're in the middle of In the News. I saw this about 2 weeks ago that Waymo. Have you ever ridden in a Waymo?
No.
So if you don't
I
know,
don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, Waymo are they're all Jaguars, and it's a company. I think they're based out of San Francisco, and it's the driverless Ubers.
Oh, okay.
So they're little white cars, little Jaguar kind of crossover SUVs, and they've got kind of the radar stuff on top. You can get them in San Francisco, you can get them down in Arizona a bunch, and it's just like ordering an Uber or a Lyft. It just comes, and there is no one driving. There's no one in the car. You call it like you do an Uber on an app, and it just literally shows up, and you get in and.
What's the price point comparison to
It's
Uber,
not much different than...
Is it a little more, a little less?
It's usually about flat. Again, it depends on kind of peak hours or whatever.
Yeah.
So in theory, the idea is that eventually it would be less because you don't have to pay a driver. But right now, when we were down in Arizona, was that a couple weeks ago? My buddy loves Waymo. He thinks it's great. I don't... For me, I don't care.
Anytime you can take away someone's job, you got to do it.
Yeah, that always bothers me a little bit. And it's weird because we were in a Waymo and we were in an Uber and we were talking about Waymo, and I felt weird because you're talking to someone who drives Uber for a living, and he was talking about how Waymo's coming for his job.
There are a lot of people who drive now to offset the cost of what's been cut in their salaries because of companies. It's scary. So you take that away, it's a slippery slope.
So there is a House bill on the agenda here, House Bill 4085, which would allow companies such as Waymo to deploy fully automated cars in Oregon. So right now it is illegal. Waymo, I guess, is looking to expand into other cities. Portland is on that list, but as of right now, they can't do it. But if this ends up passing, then yes, in theory, within the next year, you could start seeing Waymo cars. And you believe me, they're very recognizable. One, they're all white. They're all these little crossover SUVs, but you'll see they have like a big, I don't know what you even call that. It looks like a Ghostbuster car on top. I'm guessing that's like the GPS signal that sits on top of it, but it's
got quite a bit of machinery on top.
But it is kind of trippy when you get in one because it pulls up, opens the door, it already knows where you're going, and you talk to it. You can say, Waymo pull over, Waymo this, Waymo that, but it is very weird, especially if you've been drinking a little bit, to look in the front and see a driverless car. Yeah, it's a little strange, but that could be coming to Portland.
I hope it doesn't
within the next year.
I hope it doesn't.
It will.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yes. Well, it's only a matter of time before the driverless car thing. I mean, trucking industry, all that stuff, and it's coming. I mean, already there's cars. My car doesn't drive itself, but I have, if you're on the freeway, I have Ford has this, BMW has this, a lot of places have it now, where they're the driver assist. I think Tesla might be the one that truly says that you don't have to touch the wheel. But in my car, on the freeway, you don't have to drive. It will tell you to keep your hands on the wheel, or it will tell you if your eyes are closed or off the wheel. It gives you a little alert, but you don't have to drive it. I've never tried it in a city, but once you're on a freeway and you're going, you can set it and it will drive you home. And that's happening.
It will drive you home without you ever touching the wheel. Stop at the stoplights, turn right when it needs to.
Yes.
The whole thing.
And you have to. You do have to keep your hands on the wheel because it will threaten to take itself out of the driving mode if you don't.
Okay.
But I know there's some that you don't have to. Mm-hmm. I know there's some
you could literally take a nap and you'd end up.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and they don't have that big weird thing on top, so it's coming.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. My buddy loves Waymo. I think it's kind of creepy. And I also think it takes away jobs.
I think the more we automate everything, the fewer jobs there are, the more competition there is for the jobs that we do have, which means companies can pay people less, which means we're all a little bit poorer. And I think that's a very real problem that's hitting our country right now, and it's going to get worse. And that worries me. Yeah. Not to bring the Waymo report down, but it does worry me. It's a concern.
Like I said, my buddy always loves calling them, and I'm always like, dude, I'm not paying for the Waymo. If I'm giving my money to something, I would like it to go to a driver. Because as you mentioned, most of those people that are doing it as one of 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, or they're doing it to try to supplement something. And you take away those jobs. Wait till it comes to the trucking industry. Because the trucking industry, I mean, I think that's the number one paying job without a college education in the country.
And that's a lot of people.
And that's a lot of people. And already that is going to start happening to where those long haul truckers that are making $150,000 a year, you're going to be able to put that in an automated 18-wheeler that's going to go from New York to LA and never has to stop.
Right.
That stuff's coming. I also love, to your point, like people in automation isn't the end all to be all. I love mom and pop stores, and if you grew up in this area, Music Millennium has been one of that's where the Keep Portland Weird started.
Yeah.
Terry Courier took over as general manager in 1984. He's the guy that coined the Keep Portland Weird, and he has been working at that record store and owning it since taking that thing over. Now the store opened in 1969. He's 70 years old. And he took it over in 1984, and he has worked there 6 days a week for the last 42 years.
Wow.
And at the age of 70, he is saying that it is time to start thinking about moving on. And so he is actively looking for someone to buy that store, but he wants to ensure, he even said he's willing to be a landlord for the right person. He said he wants to keep that store going for the next 30 or 40 years. And he said, putting that out there, he's already had 10 people that have contacted him about it. Says he's going to take his time to make sure that stuff like that continues. Because when you talk about Portland and the whole Keep Portland Weird thing, I mean, part of that is one of the beauty parts about Portland is there's still neighborhoods. And local record stores like that or local restaurants, not everything needs to be run and owned by Jeff Bezos. You need those independent things. Like, it's one of the things that makes cities unique and cool. And that is one of the most iconic Portland stores. And he actually said that last year was the best year they've ever had, as a lot of younger people now are rejecting the digital downloads and they want physical copies.
Yeah, I think records are making a comeback. Like
yes.
having an actual the actual record. It's kind of cool.
So I thought it was cool that
the vinyl,
the original Keep Portland Weird. He said he wants to find someone that will run it for the next 30 or 40 years, like he did since taking over in 1984. So shout out to Terry, and hopefully someone ends up being a fine steward of that location. When we come back, we'll get into some headlines here on 105.1 The Fan.
Shop Best
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This update brought to you by Langdon Farms Golf Club. Langdon Farms Golf Club, good or bad weather, the golf course is always the driest around. Download the Langdon Farms app today to get all the latest news and specials. First on The Fan, the Mavericks, they have agreed to trade 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards in an 8-player trade. Mavs will send Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards, while the Mavericks receive Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. Anthony Davis only played 29 games for the Mavs after being the main piece of the Luka Doncic trade, and now he is officially in Washington. Philadelphia 76ers, they're trading guard Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold, he gave an update on his oblique injury. He told reporters today that it feels really good, and definitely the time off has helped a little bit. Looks like there'll be nothing to worry about for Darnold, as the Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites against the Patriots on Sunday in the Super Bowl. NFL insider Jake Glazer said today that the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders is not very good, and that he expects the Raiders to trade Crosby before the NFL draft on April 23rd. Trailblazers lost their 5th straight last night to the Suns, 130-125. Next up for the Blazers is the trade deadline tomorrow at noon. We'll see if the Blazers make a move, but the next game is Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Stephen Vaughn from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Welcome in on this unseasonably warm Wednesday. One more West Coast biased edition of Primetime here before Isaac Robb returns tomorrow. Taking a look at some of the headlines out there. The Olympics are officially underway. Curling going on right now. Although I did see that 4 minutes into the first Olympic event, men's curling, the power went out in the arena. And they had to have a delay. The ice hockey is supposed to start this weekend, and they don't have the arena completed yet. So things going great so far in the Olympics.
Exciting. My Olympics has already hit its peak. The TV has been on apparently for too long, and it said, it has that prompt. Yeah. Are you still watching this? And my reaction was, I haven't been watching this entire time, and I won't going further. And so now it turned off, and nothing's changed.
You don't have Olympic fever then?
I don't think America does right now.
No, I don't think. Well, it's Winter Olympics. We'll care when an American figure skates.
Olympics?
We'll get told by our Olympic overlords that we're supposed to have national pride over, I don't know, some 15-year-old spinning on some ice.
Is the Winter Olympics less popular because in terms of medals we finish? Usually, I don't think we finish in the top 3 or 4. I think we're usually in the top 10, but bottom half of the top 10. I think that's right. Well, that might be wrong.
How many people do you know that grew up playing any winter sport? It's not a thing.
I know skiers and snowboarders, but
in certain areas of the country, and then that is the elite of the elite. You have to have a lot of money in order to do that. If you live in Colorado and you want to be like a mogul skier, you come from a family that has a lot of money.
It's true. They're less accessible sports for sure.
Yeah. Yes. So it's just not the most relatable sport. I don't know anyone that is a high level winter athlete. I mean, hockey would be the closest thing to that, and even in parts of the country, hockey is completely non-existent, and even that is super expensive. The barrier of entry in winter sports in our country is just so high. You can't do it. Whereas if you grew up in Norway or whatever, you just walk outside and there's a hill that you can sled down.
I have a cousin that was real close. He was being scouted by the Winterhawks when he was 16, 17. Really good player in the Portland area. and it was astronomically expensive for him to play year-round hockey in this area. And because they had to fly, if they had a team, they had to fly to play competitive tournaments to the Midwest or to other parts of the country.
You have to rent your ice time to even practice.
Right.
And, I mean, it's become a thing. I think the NHL now has like they're trying to do a program and to try to help out, but like the sticks that they use now, the carbon fiber sticks, they're $300 a pop for these sticks. And when they break, what do? Skates? Like the skates that the NHL players wear, they're like $1,500.
Well, that's why soccer's so popular. You can go just get a ball and kick it around, or even basketball. You can just grab a ball. Yeah. There's hoops everywhere. You know, that's why it's so much easier to understand and fall in love with those sports than it is with these, the winter games.
But even like the travel costs of that, like I've seen now where like travel costs for baseball teams and basketball teams, even that, like you're having to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to go do that. But I mean, that's for like travel teams. I think just to play hockey, I don't think there's a more expensive sport to get into, and that's before any of the travel costs or anything that get into that.
The only other one I could think of is if you were real young as a competitive golfer. Yeah. There's that much equipment and that many times to golf. Yes. But even then, you'd then pay for
it's a very elite sport.
Yes.
There's very few people that are inner city that decide to be golf. Like if you're from the inner city of Philadelphia, I don't think you grow up playing golf.
I don't think you grow up playing hockey either.
No, you don't.
My point is those are the two most expensive.
Yeah. What else we got out there? Oh, the Washington Post apparently today cut their entire sports page, which is kind of depressing. Yeah. Oh, basically a week before the Olympics and the Super Bowl, they laid off a third of their staff and their entire sports department is gone. Yep. And that's kind of depressing. The Washington Post at one point was viewed as maybe the best sports section in the country. And it really was one of the great newspapers in the country, period. Right. And there's just another one in a long line of newspapers that was bought by someone that said that they were going to be a steward of it, and now here we are, and a third of the staff, including the entire sports page, was cut today. So I saw a lot of people kind of lamenting the state of news in general, but especially sports news, that there just aren't many independent voices out there doing quality work.
It's really scary. So I am currently looking for full-time work in the writing field of things, and I have enough side jobs that I kind of piece it all together, but it's not where I want to be. It's not the situation I want to be in. And I'm talking about big companies. I mean, Sports Illustrated, some of the biggest companies in America. What they do is they offer you a stipend of like $1,000 or $1,500, no health insurance, no anything, and you can write, and then for every 100,000 clicks you get, regardless of how quality those clicks are, you get a $500 bonus, $1,000 bonus. So it then behooves you to use AI
to write crap,
put it on Facebook, hope it goes viral. And they say they crack down on it, and some places do, but they're also at the same time are like, but if you could find an efficient way to do this and it's not complete crap, you're more than welcome to. It's just the reality of, with so much AI out there, getting 100,000 page views on a specific topic is very doable. It's doable. There's no question. I mean, I used to average close to 1 million a month at the Oregonian, so it's doable. But there's a lot more competition because of AI articles, because of all that stuff. And so it's just a really bleak world in journalism right now. And you look at the Washington Post in particular, Jeff Bezos used 0.1% of his net worth to buy and then cripple one of, if not the most, however we want to call it, like watchdog newspapers we've had in American history in the snap of his fingers, like Thanos snapping his fingers and half the people in the world die. It's that kind of thing. He just spent 0.1, so a drop in the bucket for him, and then just defunds a newspaper that has held Washington, D.C. accountable for decades.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
It's really unfortunate.
When you think about independent journalism, whether it's in sports or not, like you said, the idea of keeping people accountable. And when these things start to kind of consolidate into powers, you just the message that is getting out there is more and more being controlled by a handful of people. And it's quite scary. And then you get into the whole splinter groups, and it's like, well, now you have all these weird independent, whether it's podcasts or, bloggers or whatever, and TikTok news. And now there's no journalistic integrity whatsoever where that stuff's coming from. So you have the main kind of the guess we would say like the old world media that message is being controlled, or you can go out there and you can get a shotgun blast of a million other random things that you have no idea where they're coming from.
Right.
And I think the truth is becoming harder and harder to sift through, and it's becoming just washed out garbage. And at least in the world of sports, I certainly think it has led to the Stephen A. Smiths and the Kendrick Perkins of the world, as you mentioned. It doesn't matter what you say anymore. It just matters that how dumb can you be to get the most attention. Right. You can throw out the most crazy S in the world, but if it gets clicks, that's all anyone's looking for.
Right, and we've talked about this week about DVOA of the Seahawks and Patriots, and that's getting into some advanced analytics. And I like to think we try to keep the conversation at a decent level when we talk sports. Try to heighten the conversation other than the Seahawks are great. The Patriots say Drake May is actually have nuanced takes. That all gets kind of filtered in with the wash of AI, unless you reach above the noise. And the reason that ESPN and Fox and Fox, Fox Sports and all these places have just hot air nonsense, blowing up on their channels right now and on their programming right now, is the absurdity of that gets through the noise. Yeah. People share it, and they talk about it. How stupid could Stephen A. be? Max Kellerman, what a clown. Jason Whitlock is an idiot. It's getting shared, so it's getting their clicks, it's getting their money, and it's really unfortunate because right now we don't have a discerning enough public to say, I want to read articles that I'm really genuinely informed versus AI is close enough, and in most cases people can't tell the difference. There was a rash of articles recently locally about different sports people, including Jerry Allen, having died. Those got shared like crazy. They made money. It was complete nonsense, but those articles did a lot better than a lot of articles that were real, and that's really unfortunate. The other thing we're seeing is you're seeing sports franchises hire their own media, taking beat reporters who hold people accountable and say, come work for us. Well, there goes the accountability. They're not writing any more in-depth pieces holding the athletic department accountable for various maybe arrests within their team or whatever, and now you're getting puff pieces of who was your favorite Care Bear. What's your favorite what was your favorite potato chip when you were a kid? And it's not quality, and it's kind of quick clip entertainment, but there's a lack of accountability across a lot of our organizations, whether it's government or sports, and this is a direct correlation. Is this stuff that's happening with the Washington Post? It's just really unfortunate how many different levels this is actually touching. That there's really no going back. No,
and it's so true. You mentioned the in-house reporting. So much of that stuff is now they control the access to it. If you want access to a certain program, and I'm not calling anyone out by names because you got to get a job, and I get it, and some of these can be well-paying jobs, but if you want access to some of these programs, you have to play ball.
Yes.
And that's certainly become a thing. It's state-run media. Even the documentaries that are getting produced, right? So anytime you now see a documentary that's on Netflix, whether it's the Jerry Jones Dallas Cowboy one, whether it was they did one on the Florida Gators, and that team with like Aaron Hernandez, which I'm telling you,
all those arrests,
you watch that thing, you would have thought that they were choir boys, and then you're like, oh my God, who's putting this on? Oh, the people that are involved in it.
Right.
So like the John Elway one is brought to you by John Elway, like Peyton Manning, like all these people. The Michael Jordan documentary was by Michael Jordan.
Right.
Everyone has a say now in how they are going to be covered. Right. So when you see this, like the idea of independent journalism, especially in the world of sports, it is becoming rarer and rarer. And I don't know where people turn other than, like you said, to sometimes these little independent things. But then those people, like I said, have no journalistic standards whatsoever. It's just some dude on the internet. And I just don't know if people know or care where to turn for real, actual reporting.
Right. I mean, I was at the Sporting News, and they were paying me per certain page views.
Yeah.
And I asked for certain tools to be in place. In 8 days, I'd bonused $3,000 because that was my contract, and I knew how to get page views, and it was about the top high school linebackers in the country and they told me, and I was laid off, they told me, you are too successful at getting page views. We were planning on having our high school staff not do well. They laid me off, and anywhere I've gone so far now, I've said, hey, like, here's kind of the traffic I generate, and they're like, well, we can't give you a normal contract because you'd make $15,000, $12,000 a month, and we can't pay you for that unless you want to sign more of like an AI type of deal.
Huh.
It's really frustrating. I mean, I was laid off from Sporting News because I made too much money within 8 days.
Huh.
Once they gave me the tools I'd asked for several months, and I got a call, it was like, hey, we're shutting this down.
Well, it does speak volumes. We talked about this last week. You had an NFL owner that was caught red-handed sex trafficking girls with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
And what we said, it was 3 hours after that story broke that Steve Tisch was, I mean, this isn't like speculation. There are emails back and forth between the New York Giants owner and Jeffrey Epstein about sex trafficking girls.
Yeah.
And it was not the front page headline and any sports site.
And wasn't even on NFL.com.
No. And then briefly, it was the second or third story down on a couple, and now on most websites, sports websites, Yahoo Sports, ESPN, SI, it is not a headline. Doesn't exist. If you go to the NFL page, it may be buried down. It's just not. And so it really is kind of disturbing now that who's deciding what becomes news? We've become so numb to everything. And now, you know, here again, one of the paper of records in the United States just laid off a third of their staff, and there is no more sports coverage.
It's instant gratification, and then it's also the 24-hour news cycle. We're getting so much news, and as Adrian said, it's so easy to put out AI stuff that we're just seeing more and more stuff. So then when important things happen, people don't even care anymore. They're just like, oh, what's the next thing that's going on? I don't even know.
I think the other piece is power has trickled up so much that,
Well,
if you hold people accountable and your access gets rescinded, you're in trouble in terms of continuing to generate content. And so because of that, you now have a lot of entities who are reliant on kind of staying status quo to ensure that they continue to have their access.
I know in the world of sports that this has become a major thing, and I will not say this person. I don't know if they would want me to say their name, but they've been pretty open about it. But I know someone that has done this for a long time and actively is just waiting to be done with it simply because of that. You now, if you cover a team or you cover a league and you do not kiss ass, you will get access to nothing. If you say one thing that offends a coach or a player, that whole team will cut you off at the knees.
Yes.
I've seen that personally over the years. I remember one time.
I've got a story.
Yeah. I remember one time when LaMarcus Aldridge, this was how many years ago LaMarcus first got here? It was 15 plus years ago. We asked LaMarcus Aldridge if he had a girlfriend. And the Blazers called us and ripped us a new one for having the nerve to ask LaMarcus if he had a girlfriend. And we're like, what? And we're just like, he was a young kid out of Texas. We're like, hey, how you like in Portland? Like, you know, if you had a chance to like see the city or whatever, I'm like, did you bring a girl with you? Like, you know, what's your, and
how's your girl like the city?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And we were they just ripped us a new a-hole. And we were like, oh my God. Because apparently LaMarcus got off the phone and was like, how dare they ask me a personal question? And we're like, wow. And our access after that, like it was one thing after another where access got cut. I've seen this with beat reporters time and time again, where if you don't bow down to the head coach, if you don't bow down to the athletic director, your access will be cut. And so it leads to even people that are, quote, independent journalists that aren't working with the team, they will not go against the interest of the team for knowing that if they do, the access is gone and it's cut. And then it makes an already difficult job that much harder.
Yeah. JT Tuimalau was the number one recruit in the nation. And there was a time when the reputation of Oregon, particularly under Mario, was that and this was under Mario, that they leaked information and sometimes information they shouldn't to reporters. And so the counter was come on a visit to Oregon and it won't leak. Well, JT put it on his Instagram, like from the sideline, I'm at Oregon's practice. Yeah. So I wrote the story and I got a call. I posted the story on Twitter. I got a call it was less than 2 minutes of me tweeting it out from someone at Oregon. And they said, you need to delete the story. And I said, no, it's on his Instagram. I didn't take it from a source. I just said it's on his Instagram. Yep. And they said, if you take it down, or if you don't take it down, no one from Mario's staff will talk to you about recruiting until they leave.
There you go.
And I said, well, I'm not taking it down. And then I found out, so I reached out to some other reporters and was like, how come you guys didn't? And they're like, we're not touching that. We'll lose our access. Yep. No other recruiting reporter touched it. And to their credit, outside of seeing me in person and being like, hey, Nimick, when they saw me out in public, I never got another piece of information from that staff until Mario left for Miami. Yeah. And then he sent me a note, and he's like, hey, now that that's done, I hope we're cool and we can work together when I'm in Miami, but that was the punishment, I hope you understand that. Yeah. And I was like, well, I understood it. I don't agree with it, but I understood it.
Yeah, this is what you're dealing with in the media, and it happens at all levels, and it's scary, and it's crappy, and I don't know how it goes back, but the Washington Post eliminating their sports section, and basically the New York Times doesn't have one anymore. They farm theirs out to The Athletic, but there just is very few places anymore where you get true independent journalism where anyone is being held accountable. And I think that is one of the scarier things to happen. And sports is just a microcosm of it, but I think on a grander level, sports is small potatoes, but I think this is happening for every news organization out there, and it ain't good.
Right.
It's not good.
Just really quickly to highlight how big a deal it was to be cut off at the knees by Oregon.
Yeah.
Some of their staff went to my 30th birthday party.
Yeah.
I had a 30th birthday party with friends and everybody, and specifically one for the whole evening when we went out for drinks and everything was part of the birthday party. Came with me to the birthday party, hung out, came to Portland to hang out and have drinks and everything. Didn't speak to me for like 8 months after that because that was the edict. Don't talk to Nimick. He posted JT Tuimalau took a visit, and again, it wasn't anything I sourced out. It was just a screenshot of JT Tuimalau's own Instagram where he said, hey guys, I'm in Eugene. That's the way it works sometimes.
I think every person that's been in the media has had a run-in where they report something that they saw, even if it's not a big deal, and the reaction to it is so over the top by a team, a coach. Everyone has it. And I just got a text from someone that literally just said, a member of the media said, now you know why I got out of it. I mean, and so the people that are willing to swim in this pool are the Adam Schefters of this world. And whatever you think of Adam Schefter, I know Adam Schefter gets a lot of information. Adam Schefter gets information because he says what he's told to say. By agents and by players, that's why he has the access. And he's been caught multiple times doing it. And yet we hold that guy up as, quote, the insider, when he's just a paid shell. That's all it is. And that's becoming more and more, that's all the media that you're getting. And that ain't good. It's not good for sports. It's not good for politics. It's just not good for the world. But that's the world that we're living in right now. We come back, we'll get into the NBA trade deadline because we actually had some big piece of, we had another big domino. This will probably be the biggest one of the trade deadline. And I think we might be on the verge of maybe the worst trade in NBA or maybe even sports history when this thing all shakes out. That when we come back.
80 a.m.
We'll get to the NBA trade deadline here coming up. Some of the messages rolling in. I think some people knew who we were talking about, but we were just talking about independence in journalism. And I think one of the things, the reason why people like this form of sports journalism, and this isn't sports journalism, this is entertainment. I've done the show now with Rob for 20 years. I think I've been doing it for 23 years total, 22, 23 years. I did with Finesse before this. This is entertainment, right? That there's a difference between journalism and a difference between entertainment. I am not a journalist. I've never been a journalist. Didn't write for a paper. Didn't write for anybody.
Yeah.
And so I get both sides of this in that the access would certainly be nice. Mm-hmm. But we made a decision a long time ago, especially with Rob. If you want to talk about someone that will not play ball, I give you Isaac Rob.
And I admire that about him, by the way.
Yeah. Rob got fired from talking ball because he said something that Neil O'Shea didn't like. And Comcast Sportsnet at the time fired him and wouldn't admit that that's the reason why they fired him. And it's the angriest I've ever seen him.
Oh, yeah.
And Rob didn't even say anything on air. Rob sent a tweet, and it wasn't like anything like inflammatory. He just said he didn't agree with some stuff. And I think he used to call him the sports Trump because he was so sensitive. And they fired him over it. And we decided a long time ago that you have a choice in this world when you get into the world of sports talk radio. Because journalism, it's even harder because you almost have to have access in order to write your stories. We, on the other hand, do an entertainment show. Yep. We can do it whether people talk to us or not. I do not think I have had a conversation of any meaningful person with the Blazers in probably 15 years. Doesn't mean we can't talk about them, but if you're writing for them, you have to have that access. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people do enjoy tuning into sports talk radio because you get more of an unfiltered view. You get someone's opinion. You get to hear from people that can actually speak their mind. Whereas from a journalistic standpoint, I think those people have a lot harder time than people that do what we do, or the people that do what I do on the show on a day-to-day basis.
Well, that's honestly why I leaned into doing the West Coast Biased with you, the podcast.
Yeah.
Is I listened to a lot of Oregon and Oregon State content and thought a lot of it was bad. It was just very pro no matter what. Like this year, the big narrative that we were just like, this is nuts. People are nuts. Was Oregon's offensive line is good.
Yeah.
Now, and that was something that was sold by the staff, and that was something that people said, and then they regurgitated it. It just wasn't true. Yeah. It's like, come on, guys. Like, we have eyes. You guys get what's going on. And one, I think sometimes people don't know what's going on. There's a very prominent Oregon Ducks reporter who I was at a recruiting event with, and he asked me, what's the position that lines up opposite the receiver? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, who's the kid?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I mean the guy that guards a receiver on defense. Who is that? Yeah. And I said, that's a cornerback. And he wrote a scouting report that day on that kid that people were like, whoa, I didn't know that about his footwork. And I was like, he doesn't even know what position that guy plays. So there is that level of things. The other thing that I think people who aren't in journalism would be surprised to hear is that a lot of people's favorite journalists who you're like, wow, he has so much access, are the absolute most despised people among their colleagues.
Yeah,
because it means they're absolute shills who don't have a spine whatsoever.
Well, I remember I mentioned Adam Schefter, who's probably right now, Shams and Schefter, I would say those are probably the two biggest insiders. Like, Shams breaks every piece of NBA news. Sham had the Anthony Davis trade today. Like, I don't know who's more, right? Shams or Schefter. Take a pick. And I haven't seen necessarily Shams get outed, but Schefter has been.
He has.
Has he been
He's
outed?
A LeBron shill. He has connections to Clutch Sports and Rich Paul.
Well, you know,
and he will push things out that says Jordan's not as good and LeBron is better.
Okay,
Shams lied. He was paired with a gambling site and lied and said that it made it seem like the number 2 pick was going to be somebody it wasn't, and they found out in his contract was a bonus because he was supposed to hype up draft content, that if it reached a certain number, this is alleged, but that if he reached a certain number, he got a huge bonus, and there was no action because everyone knew who the number 2 pick was going to be. But that flipped it, made a whole bunch of money, and then he got a bonus for it. Shams is
just as
allegedly very sketchy.
I knew Shams had to be because of the level of information he gets, but I just wasn't aware of those. Schefter has been caught. I remember when Dalvin Cook was facing
that's right. Yeah.
rape and assault charges with an ex-girlfriend. Schefter got caught sending a message to Cook's agent saying, hey, here's my release. Is this okay? Literally pushing a narrative that this lady was full of crap. Dalvin Cook was facing serious charges, and the agent sent Adam Schefter what he wanted him to say and to be reported as the gospel truth, and Schefter got caught. He also had another one with like the Commanders. I think they're the Redskins at the time. Like, that dude will say whatever an agent or a team wants him to say, and in return, he gets the access. And so that's just understand that when you are dealing with an insider like that, they aren't the insider because they're working phones and they're making all these connections. I mean, obviously part of that is true.
Yeah.
But in order to get there, you have to be willing to play ball and do whatever those higher ups want.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of things, look, I'm not trying to absolve radio personalities from this, and especially like ESPN, because when you do what we do and you're not held to any sort of journalistic standards, you can poll a Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith or Kendrick Perkins says some of the, Emmanuel Ocho is another one of these guys. They say the most horse bleep, ridiculous things. They won't know who's playing. They won't know who's coaching.
We got some of these locally, by the way.
It is bad. Brutal at times. But they can say whatever they want because, again, it drives narratives and there's no integrity. So it's like, I honestly don't know where you turn at this point. It's a really weird spot that media is in. And I also think it leads to a lot of journalists not wanting to do this anymore. And the people that are wanting to do this are willing to feed at the slop trough in order to get where they want to get.
Well, the question would be then is, if I'm a listener, how do I know who's actually spilling the truth and who's not? Because I'm with you guys.
It's tough.
I'm around it as well. But as a listener, I would imagine it would be hard to figure out, well, how come I can't trust Adam Schefter? How come I can't trust Shams? Like, they're the guys.
A few things. If you really know the sport, you can tell who's telling you the truth.
But a lot of people don't really know. They're just
Right.
casual
fan.
Yes.
My takeaway from that is one area, if you really want to get into it, if you really care, pay attention to the NFL draft. Whose reports are actually accurate about this player's really good, this player's bad, this player doesn't do this player does that, and then go back and watch it. And they don't have to say this player's going to be great, but just this player needs to work on his pass rush moves. Like, Kayvon Thibodeau was a really good litmus test for who knew what they were talking about at Oregon and around Oregon, because he was pretty lazy on running plays. He played really hard in big games because he had to get his sack. And then you could see that he got satisfied with a 1.5 sack game by the third quarter, and they were up 2 scores. So he just stopped playing hard.
But again, you're talking about something so specific that to the average fan, that just isn't.
And that's my point. It's really challenging.
It's just not a thing. I'm with you, Steven. I don't know. I really don't know, other than hopefully whether it's your favorite writer, whether it's your favorite reporter, whether it's your favorite host. You just hopefully learn to build some level of trust, or you just take it for what it is, and everything is taken with a certain grain of salt.
Because we're in it every day. So we can kind of sense
it's true.
it.
It's a good point.
And I think it's good to have these conversations every once in a while to say, look, like, we need to kind of check who we're trusting with all this information. So I actually appreciate these conversations we're having, because I think a lot of these listeners may not know, like,
but the problem is a lot of the people that are full of S are the ones that move up the ladder.
Right.
They're the ones
they're the best ones. Yeah.
They're
They're
the ones that are willing to step on anyone and kind of play ball, and they kind of keep getting elevated. And it's just a murkier world out there. And I'm not going to be the one to try to pretend that my hand is steady enough to draw the line of these people are worthwhile and these people aren't. I just know that in today's world, and this is a larger problem, people don't know where to turn for information, and that leads people to believing more crap than ever, or the idea that you can't believe anything, even when there's hardcore evidence and proof. And that's the scary part, because there's so much crap out there when someone does get caught with something. And it's like, look, we have concrete proof. This is what happens. This is what happened right here. This is the truth. People can instantly go to the, I don't believe it. I don't know. I need to see evidence. Well, here's the evidence. I don't know if I believe that evidence.
What's your source?
Yeah, what's the source? And then so it turns into, like you can't believe anything, even the stuff that is true from credible sources, and it's just murkier than ever. And sports is a microcosm of the larger problem, but it certainly exists in the sports world.
And what's scary is it starts at a really low level. Just in recruiting, I wrote an article that was critical of Oregon in the Mark Helfrich era, and people kind of, I mean, who follow recruiting know this air quotes feud. I just stopped talking to the person. I blocked everybody that worked for him. Wrote a hit piece criticizing something I said, and then he messaged me and said, "You're 100% right, and I totally agree with everything you're saying. I'm trying to score points with Oregon, and we're fighting for readers. So if I make you look bad, I get more readers. Are we cool?" And I never spoke to him again. And people thought it was some sort of huge feud, and I would get asked about it for years. You guys hate each other. I don't hate him. I just have no respect for that person. If you're caught lying and you message me saying, "Hey, I know I wrote an absolute hit piece against you, even though you're right. I'm trying to score some points." And that's at the Oregon Duck recruiting level. Yeah. I can't even imagine how bad it is at the national level, where they're, Kellerman and Stephen A. and how ugly that stuff gets.
Yeah, it's brutal out there. So just try to do your best to try to sort through some of the BS and
just listen to the fan in primetime.
Listen to the fan. See what we can do for you. That's the one thing I will tell you, that over the 20 plus years, I've never made up a story in my life. We try to give you an educated opinion. And are you 100% accurate all the time? Absolutely not. But we try not to do the Stephen A. Smith crap. We certainly don't make up stuff, and we try to be entertaining. And the stuff we say, it's sourced to the best of our abilities. That's all we can do. I always say, you're not going to get a lot of breaking stories out of me, but hopefully you will get the true story and then your take and an opinion with a non-slanted bias on that. Because anyone can be first, because that just means that you're just throwing crap against the wall. How you want to react to that, I just think that's a more important thing that we're living in this world right now, is to be able to filter through that crap. When we come back, I do want to get into what arguably may now be the worst trade in the history of sports. Now this thing is shook out. Primetime here on The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This update brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today, online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on The Fan, NBA trade deadline getting hot as we're getting close to the deadline. Mavericks have agreed to trade 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards in an 8-player trade. The Mavs will send Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards, while the Mavericks receive Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks. Disaster of a trade for Anthony Davis to the Mavericks, as he only played 29 games for Dallas after being the main piece in the Luka Doncic trade a season ago. Oklahoma City Thunder have added some depth as they're trading for Philadelphia 76ers guard Jared McCain. Thunder are giving up a first-round pick and 3 second-round picks back to Philly. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold, he gave an update on his oblique injury today to reporters. He said it feels really good, and definitely the time off has helped a little bit. Looks like there may not be anything to worry about on the oblique side out of Darnold, as the Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites over the Patriots on Sunday. NFL insider Jay Glazer said the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders is not good, and he expects the Raiders to trade Crosby for the NFL draft on April 23rd. And the Trailblazers lose their 5th straight game in a row last night to the Suns, 130-125. Hornets up 19 in the first half, end up losing the game. Next up, we'll see is the trade deadline, noon tomorrow, see if they make any moves, and then the next game is Friday at Memphis. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Stephen Vaughn from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
We got off on a whole media rant there.
People liked that.
Well,
we both got texts about it.
Yeah.
People are on the text line talking about
That's an interesting conversation. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, we set out there, we originally, we're going to talk about the NBA trade deadline and the fact that at this point it does appear that the Dallas Mavericks have moved Luka Doncic for Chris Middleton and 3 bad first-round picks that will be it will be the 30th pick and then 2 picks that will be bottom 20. They will be 20 or worse.
Right, yeah.
That is what they ended up moving Luka Doncic for.
Yeah.
That will be the worst trade in NBA history. That will go down. They traded a 25-year-old premier player because he wasn't in shape enough for a guy that played 29 games for them and then shipped him to the Washington Wizards. I mean, Nico Harrison will end up with the worst stain on his resume. That guy will never be a GM again. There's just no, now that is done and you take a step, you took a step back from 30,000-foot view, it is shocking to look at the idea that Anthony Davis traded to the Wizards got more of a haul than Luka did going to the Lakers. Jaren Jackson Jr. got a bigger haul. Rudy Gobert got a bigger haul than Luka, a perennial 25, 26-year-old MVP that led an average team to the NBA Finals. And you got less of a return than all of those players. I've never seen anything like it. Shocking.
It's still the most shocking sports moment for me outside of Kobe's death. So a non-death related surprise.
Yeah.
It's number 1 for me in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Because it was sent to me by 2 people, one being Brandon Sprague, the other being my son who was in college. And I thought they both got tricked. And I was like, what a tweet. It got 2 people that I think usually pay pretty close attention. Yeah. And it was like, then it was, no, it's real. Okay, well, there's more picks. There's something else. It's a 3-teamer, and they're getting something else. No. And then the story started to unfurl, and we started to learn more, and it just got more messed up. Yeah. Whereas, like, well, it's been agreed to for a month, but neither party wanted to say anything, and it's like, your number one thing, like, if you get engaged, that's how I'd look at it. Say you get engaged to a woman, and she's like, you know what? No one can know until we get married. Let's not tell anyone. Yeah. That's a red flag.
Should be.
Yes, I'll marry you, but please don't tell anyone at all. Please.
The Aaron Rodgers secret
until
engagement.
We're actually married, and then you can tell people after it's that's a warning sign. Yeah. And it's just they didn't get. And so it didn't make sense. I didn't get it. Nobody got it. Nobody understood what it was. And then you go, okay, they didn't want to talk about it. Finally, okay, we will talk about it. And then they give a press conference, a news conference, and say, we were worried about durability. Yeah. And it's like, you traded for a Mr. perennially Glass. Injured big guy in his 30s who then, again, as if it were an SNL skit, gets hurt in his first game. And then you go, well, they still have a roster. No, because they've also mismanaged the cap. So they can't add any players. They're that far up against it, and they've already made too many transactions with two-way contracts or two-way players or whatever it is. And so they get to a point where there starts to be leaks that they may have to forfeit games because they don't have enough players. Normally, when you trade a young superstar, you can't get dollar for dollar. So you get $1 and then you get a 50-cent piece, a quarter, and a dime. So you get multiple players back. But because the trade was so bad, they didn't get enough healthy pieces back to then have a team going forward. I mean, it was just absurd. And then to add insult to injury, pour salt in the wound, to punch Dallas fans and kick them while they're down, they get Cooper Flagg, and Nico says, fortune favors the bold, which just reignites and re-infuriates that fan base.
Because pairing Cooper Flagg with Kyrie and Luka would have been just such an awful thing to do.
Well, had they had Luka, they wouldn't have missed the playoffs. They would have been like a play-in team, and they wouldn't have had a chance to win the lottery.
Valid. So their one saving grace for that organization is they lucked in. They went ass backwards and got Cooper Flagg.
Do you think seriously? And I know the NBA. There's all those conspiracy theories that they gave him to it because otherwise that franchise was in huge trouble. because of how despised their front office is, even without Nico, people are still irate with that franchise. Do you think Cooper Flagg and the things he's doing right now would be a bigger deal for almost any other team? Because I'm of the opinion that people are so mad at Dallas and their fan base is so angry and they've fallen apart so badly from being an NBA Finals team 2 years ago that their fan base refuses to fully embrace Cooper Flagg the way that they possibly could. He dropped 49 the other. Yeah. He's not just legit.
I know.
We're talking about a player who's probably going to be a 5 to 10 time all NBA selection by the end, and you don't hear a lot about it. And I honestly do think part of it is because he's in Dallas where the fans refuse to embrace that.
And part of it, too, is they're still dog piss. I mean, they've won 19 games.
But if he were at the Wizards, they would be making, the Washington Post would be, they would be making such a big deal that finally, like if you were in Charlotte, we finally have a guy.
If Kyrie comes, they're going to get another high pick this year in a very deep loaded draft. And if they get another high pick, let's say they shut him down and they end up drafting, let's say they get the 6th overall pick. And you end up with one of these guys. I guess next year's draft is supposed to just be crap. Like when you look at the people that are and what things are going for, the 2027 draft is supposed to be garbage. This year's draft is really good.
Maybe one of the best ever.
So
up at the top.
If you're Dallas and you get another marquee player and you pair him with Cooper Flagg and Kyrie comes back, then maybe the people of Dallas will kind of come around to it. But for a team that was in the NBA Finals 2 years ago and went through the Luka stuff, I think 19-31, it's probably hard to fully embrace it. It's probably hard to get on board with it, but give it time because Dallas may have lucked ass backwards into recovering from the dumbest decision in NBA history to stumbling ass backwards now through no credit of their own to actually maybe in another year or two pulling their head out of this and turning into something.
We've talked about this trade deadline, how the Blazers have a quote unquote chance to get Giannis, and it's hard to get those guys. Dallas has that guy. Dallas has one of those guys that you would want to build your team around, and that looks to be an all NBA guy, a guy that can lead your team to the playoffs, potentially a Hall of Famer, like all that kind of stuff. So yes, Dallas is in a bad spot because of the whole Luka trade, the debacle, but they do have one of those guys. Yeah. And so I think eventually, to Andrew's point, is I do think Dallas fans will embrace it once they start winning more and more games. But it is still so fresh in their mind, man, we got rid of Luka and we made the finals and we traded him. Even though we got this guy, it's still years away.
I agree with you. However, I just want to point out, in the last 3 games, Cooper Flagg has dropped 36-9-6, 34-12-5, and 49-10-3. He is the great white hope for American whites. He is unequivocally the most intriguing outside of Wembanyama rookie we've seen in the NBA in 5-6 years. He is a guy who there was all this hype about, that he's this incredible up and coming star. And you don't hear a lot about him.
Because to be fair, when Wemby had his rookie year in San Antonio, they were bad.
Right. But people talked about him.
Well,
a lot.
Well, that's because we hadn't seen it. We still haven't seen anything like Wemby ever.
Trust me, if
we haven't seen a guy like Cooper Flagg since Larry Bird.
When Cooper next year, if Dallas,
a white superstar from America that's incredible as a rookie.
If next year Dallas is, look, San Antonio right now is what, second in the entire West.
They're good.
So trust me, the Cooper Flagg stuff is coming. It may be a little bit of a slow burn. The Cooper Flagg stuff is coming, especially if they get another premier pick and that guy hits. We come back. One more second before we move into the club. How much would you pay to shout? Coming up next here on The Fan. All right, the club coming up next. I don't know if you've been following any of this Samantha Guthrie mom kidnapping news, but it's bizarre. We now have, like, it's something out of a movie, and it's getting, well, it's scary, and it's getting extra creepy. So we'll get to the club here in a second. I did want to point out this because I thought it was kind of fun. Plus for charity, the Oregon Club of Eugene, Springfield is having an auction right now, and it's all duck stuff. You can get like a Dante Moore autographed football. You can get like team issued helmets, a lot of different stuff like that. There's some Prefontaine stuff. There's an autographed Final Four chair by Kelly Graves. A couple concert experience like Zach Bryan is coming to play Otson, so you can go and get that private suite. But I'm not a big memorabilia guy. I do like experiences though. Experience, like if I was going to spend money, I could give a damn about an autographed football or something like that. But an experience, that's where you can get me. I'll pay up for that. And they have some cool experiences. So I want to see which one of these, or is there an experience in the sports world that you would pay? So you can, they call it the Oregon Duck Football Tunnel Experience at Boise State. So you get to run out with the team and the duck and the motorcycle against Boise State. I thought that one was pretty cool. By the way, the top bid on that right now, $1,400. They have, I thought this one might be the one that goes for the most. This is Michigan against Michigan. And right now the top bid is $2,000. You get to be on the field and the sideline to do shout.
Oh, that's fun.
That's pretty cool.
Between the third and fourth quarter,
Between
when
the third and
everybody's
fourth quarter.
turning it up, cranking it up,
yes,
you get to dance with the team.
You get to dance with the team on the field at Michigan or against Michigan. Yeah. It's one thing, like you don't want to do it against nobody, but Michigan, that should be pretty cool.
That's cool.
You get to go to you can go to an Oregon football practice, all access. You get to watch the whole thing. That's $700, which I think that would be kind of cool for people. But is that you want to go watch practice? You can do the tunnel experience right now for Michigan. Again, run out with the team. That's $2,000. So Michigan going for $600 more than it would Boise State. What was the other one? You can rent out Matthew Knight Arena to watch a movie with you and your friends.
That's cool.
Up on the big screen. The Oregon football broadcast experience. You can sit in the broadcast booth and watch Jerry and company broadcast the Northwestern game. That's $700, which I think was also kind of cool. Is there an experience, like if so you obviously wouldn't be for the Ducks, but like with the Niners, is there something that if you had to pay a couple grand that you would, that would be like, okay, birthday, once in a lifetime thing, I would want to do that?
It's tough because my answer would normally be anything involving Jerry Rice. I love Jerry Rice more than any sports figure by far. And as I've gotten older and gotten around more people that know him.
Yeah, he's kind of an ass.
I think spending my money to hang out with Jerry Rice would be a bad investment. It's that never meet your idols kids kind of situation. Yeah. But if I could somehow meet Jerry Rice and hang with Jerry Rice and he was like cool for an hour, that would be really cool for me.
For $550, you can retrieve the tee, like after they kick off. They have that at like Boise State and Portland State. That do anything for you? Run out and grab the tee?
I think I'd tear my Achilles. Although I do it much quicker than you guys.
Yeah,
I
be
sprint
sprinting out there. I know last year they had a couple of these things like USC was taking on Penn State. And some Penn State fans bought the experience to run out with a USC team.
That's right.
And they were like wearing Penn State gear, running out with the USC team.
Yeah.
And I think didn't they pivot that and they said no.
Yeah, they changed the rules.
They changed the rules.
You can't be cheering for the other team and run out with our team.
I would want to do grounds crew at like a Major League Baseball game. Like if I could pay to go out and like
drive the gator around.
Yeah. Well, just like they rake the field. I would like to go out like at a Mets game. Obviously, I'm a big Mets fan. But Seattle, obviously, that would be the closer one. But just to be like part of the grounds crew, like you see him
Zamboni the ice.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. To Zamboni the ice at a Red Wings game, or to work the infield crew to be part of the grounds crew at a Mets game, that would be high on my list.
I know what mine would be.
What do you got?
I'm 100% certain this would be it. I would like to do the old school scoreboard in the Fenway. I'd watch the game and then put up the numbers. I would love that. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd pay a good amount of money to do that because you get to watch the game from
inside the wall,
and then you put up each number. That would be cool.
That is cool. I got to think about it because that was the first one that came to my mind was the grounds crew thing or the Zamboni. I'll noodle with this during the break, and when we come back, we get into the club. I want to talk about the Samantha Guthrie thing, which is just bizarre. I'm going to rank my top beers. Someone asked me a question, about ranking beers, and it's a bit of a controversial statement here, but I'm going to rank some beers, and it turns out that fear is learned, you're not born with it, and in the most disturbing way. I saw something over the weekend that just shook me to my core, and I can't imagine that someone actually did this for a study, but they did, and the results may shock you. That when the club rolls on when we come back. 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This update brought to you by Mountaintop Metal Roofing. No maintenance, energy efficient, fire resistant, and a lifetime warranty. Do it once, do it right. Visit mountaintopmetalroofing.com. First on the Fan, NBA trade deadline is getting really hot as the Mavericks have agreed to trade 10-time All-Star big man Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards in part of an 8-player trade. Mavs will send Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards, while the Mavs receive Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks. This ends the era of Anthony Davis in Dallas, where he only played 29 games for the Mavs after being the main piece in the Luka Doncic trade a season ago. 76ers, they're trading guard Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder to add some depth to the Thunder for a first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold told reporters today that his oblique injury feels really good, and definitely the time off has helped him a little bit. Looks like there will be nothing to worry about on the injury front with the oblique for Darnold as the Seahawks take on the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Seattle 4.5-point favorites. NFL insider Jay Glazer said the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders not looking very good. He expects the Raiders to trade Crosby before the NFL draft on April 23rd. And the Trailblazers lost their 5th game in a row last night to the Suns, 130-125. Next up is a trade deadline tomorrow at noon. See if the Blazers make a trade. Then their next game will be Friday against the Grizzlies. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Stephen Vaughn from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies act like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
All right, before we get to, I got kidnapping news, I got fear news, and I was asked to do something, and it was a very controversial thing, apparently. Someone asked me to rank the best beers, and I threw one out there, and I'm getting a lot of blowback for it, and I told this person, I was like, I will defend what I believe is the best beer out there. But before we do that, because we're up against it, we went a little long there, we were talking about best sports experiences because some club down in Eugene is auctioning off a bunch of Oregon experiences. And I threw out, if you could have one sports experience you would pay for, what would you do? Yours was pretty good. Running the scoreboard at Fenway Park, excellent. I went groundskeeper, like at a Mets game, or Zamboni driver, Red Wings game were pretty cool. Someone threw out singing Take Me Out to the Ball game at a Cubs game. That would be pretty
That'd
tease.
be cool. Yeah.
Seventh inning stretch at Wrigley Field doing the Harry Carey thing.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
That's pretty good. And like someone said, announcing draft picks, that would do nothing for me. Like, would you want to go out on stage with Roger Goodell and announce a draft pick?
I love the NFL draft. That doesn't appeal to me.
No. The other one that popped into my mind is working a bag for someone at a major golf tournament. Now, I know you couldn't do it for like a round, but even like a warm-up round or like the par 3 at Augusta. Like par 3 at Augusta, you get to wear the white jumper and you get to carry a pro that you like. You get to carry their bag. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, I didn't actually, that one crossed my mind too, is being a caddy at the Masters. But I didn't think it was actually realistically in any real capacity on the table. Like, even like a Make-A-Wish kid could put the numbers in the Fenway.
Yeah.
A Make-A-Wish kid doesn't get to do the math.
That's why I said, like, maybe the par 3 that doesn't mean anything.
Even then, I don't think they did. The Masters takes itself extremely.
I don't know, the Masters, like they do, because they let some of those caddies take shots. I think the par 3 is pretty chill. Or if you did like maybe the TPC, like in Arizona where there's a party, I'll bet you for a warm-up round, something like that, you could do that. If you had enough money, you could probably make that happen. Someone said sidelines for a Duck game, but you get to hear what Lanning hears. I don't think they would let you do that either. But getting to hear the coaches' conversations, because I think Phil Knight gets to do that. I think Phil gets to sit in a box and Phil gets to hear what everyone's saying.
You'd be able to call a play.
I don't know if Phil gets to call a play, but I've been told that in Phil's box he gets to hear what is being said.
Wasn't that the whole thing with Al Davis? Like Al Davis would get on the phone and be like, "Hey, we need to throw a deep one here."
Yeah. Supposedly he would meddle a little bit.
I would like that for fans in general who buy season tickets, who join a message board to talk about football.
Yeah.
Force them to listen even from 2013. Like in the modern era. Force them to listen to a headset for one game of any team, just so they understand the pacing of play calling and to understand what's all happening. It comes at you really, really fast. Yeah. And so this idea of like, how come they didn't? It's like, because they had 5 seconds to decide. So it's
not like Madden?
Not quite.
Not at all
you have a few more
I love running
plays.
square.
I don't think the average person has any idea
cover two.
How quickly that stuff happens.
Deep to square.
Someone said drive the pace car at the Indy 500. That would be pretty boss. I don't know if I could. I'm guessing that's more detailed than you think. I'm not sure just some average schnook. I'm sure you have to have, because that thing's probably going halfway decent. I'm guessing you have to be like a real skilled driver, but that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
To do the pace car on that would be excellent. Corner man for like again, you wouldn't be able to do anything, but to be in the corner for a boxing or a UFC fight, like, would be pretty.
That's not my wheelhouse, but I could see that being cool for somebody.
I think maybe I'm in charge of putting the stool out, because no one would, you're not going to be the cut man, but if you put me in the corner for a big time UFC or boxing match, and all I had to do was put the stool out, that was my job. I got the little, because you get the little warm-up jacket that you get to put on, maybe a cool headband, and then during the round you just have to put the stool down, and then when it's over you take the stool out. But you get to be in the corner. That would be pretty kick-ass. That would be really, really high on my list.
I helped call a play in an Oregon high school football game that led to a touchdown once.
Did you?
Yeah, I was the reporter, and I was like, the safety's cheating, you can throw over the top up the seam. and they called it right before half and scored a touchdown on it. The coach was like, thanks, Dimmick.
Feel pretty good about that, did you?
Yeah. They liked it. They thought it was funny.
You can text in if you could pay, realistically, you could pay for like a charity, what would be your ultimate sports experience? 503-864-6326. When we come back, kidnapping news, fear news, and I rank the beers. And apparently this has been a controversial thing amongst my friends, but I stand by it, that there is one beer, to me, that is the ultimate of all the beers. And we talk about it when we come back here on The Club.
Here.
Welcome in. Some sports experiences coming in. Dotting the I at an Ohio State game, very cool. Coin flip before a big football game, also pretty solid.
Yep.
Go out before like a national title game or a college football playoff game, flip the coin, very excellent. Someone said, what if you could sign up to be sexually harassed by Jody Allen? I'll take that. Think about the money you'd get for that.
Yeah, but you could also just pick someone else.
But I want to be on a yacht.
Someone said get to be a towel waver, a.k.a. Myers Leonard in an NBA game. That'd be fun, sitting on the bench. Like, if you get a courtside an NBA game, you're basically on the bench. A lot of those places now, those last couple seats, like at the Knicks games, you're on the bench.
Yeah.
You can wave a towel.
I'd even take the Joe Budden seats. Second row.
Oh, is that right behind?
Yeah, you don't... Fat Joe made a joke about Joe Budden doesn't have front row seat money. He has Joe Budden seats, which is second row. So it became a thing that
Can
was
you
like
even
tagged.
buy those? Aren't those just given out by the team?
No, you have to buy them.
You have to buy them?
For sure, yeah.
I think a lot of those seats, like for like Knicks games and stuff, those are just, they just give those out to celebrities.
I would guess you have to meet a certain threshold to sit there.
Yeah.
Whether you have to pay a premium if you're not famous or maybe there's a rich person price.
Sure.
But I bet if you were like a former convicted felon, even if you had a lot of money,
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't let you.
Because I just, when you see like Knicks games and you see like Ben Stiller and like Howard Stern down there, like if you're a certain,
That's what I mean. They hold back some
They hold
access.
back, yeah.
But you still have to buy them.
do you? They buy those?
Joe Budden did the whole thing of how the breakdown of how much they cost and everything. Oh yeah, that was part of his podcast.
How much does that cost?
I don't remember. I wasn't super excited because it wasn't exactly going to affect me. But yeah, it's a lot. They're expensive.
What would that be at the Blazers? Because we don't have any like celebrities here in Portland. We don't have any like Ron Sloy, but we don't have any like big marquee people that are like headliners down there at Blazer games.
There was that dancing lady for a long time they put on the Jumbotron.
She's still there. I
She's
saw
still
her
there?
the other day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she has her
Yeah.
season tickets. We have
I mean,
like
she's
Darth-
not. She's famous as the
Famous in Portland.
dancing lady.
Well, her seats aren't great.
No,
They're
no,
just-
no. She's not really famous at all.
Yeah, Darth Blazer was another one of those guys. But we don't have like in New York and LA, like Miami, Dallas.
No actual celebrities.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, that's
He's a
whole-
Knicks guy.
Yeah. See, I don't believe that he pays for those seats. Like, it's one thing if you're like Jack in LA paid for those seats. And because he was Jack, he got him. But I don't think when Chalamet shows up, I don't think he has to pay for those.
I bet his studio, before he promotes a movie, has them. And when it's his turn for a movie release, he sits in them. And then when somebody else from that studio is about to release a movie and it's the playoffs, they get those seats. They use them as advertising for their movies.
I do remember there was a great story. Lil Wayne wanted to go to a playoff game in Oklahoma City. And they said, sorry, we don't have any more courtside seats. They're like, we give him, and Lil Wayne freaked out. And it turned like he went like on an online rampage.
That's his thing.
And Oklahoma City told him to go F himself. They offered him like nice seats. I think it was like 5th row or something. And Lil Wayne wasn't going to be humiliated by sitting like in the 5th row. And he ended up looking like a giant bitch. He called him like the day of the game and demanded courtside seats. And I think it was for like the NBA finals, or it might have been like a conference finals thing. And they were like, dude, we don't have seats.
You're not Marlins, man. Come on now, Lil Wayne.
Like, what do you want from us? We don't have any seats.
So he threw a big fit about Kendrick Lamar getting the halftime show for the New Orleans Super Bowl. We all know this. We all remember this.
Yeah.
That there was a big controversy
Sure.
that he didn't get it in his own city or whatever.
Yeah.
So this year he is doing a halftime show. He's doing a virtual halftime show on Clash Royale, the mobile game.
Oh. So we have...
So nobody will watch.
So we have the Turning Point one
watch
with
your
Kid.
mouth.
So we have the Kid Rock one, and we have a Lil Wayne one.
It looks like it.
So we have 3 halftime shows. We have the Bad Bunny, which is actually going to be the halftime show.
What about the Pup Bowl or whatever? They have a halftime show, don't they?
Oh yeah. So you have the Puppy Bowl. You got the Bad Bunny one. You got the Turning Point one with Kid Rock and like 3 other country people I've never heard of. And by the way, is that the greatest career move of all time? Like Kid Rock was completely done. Like Kid Rock hasn't been relevant in forever, and he just was like.
When was the last time you put like a song out? 2012?
Yeah, but he just like now he's just like MAGA, and now anytime they have something, they just go to Kid Rock. He is like the #1 entertainer for them. I bet you that dude has made so much money simply by being like their main act. He's there like Bruce Springsteen now. So they got that, and now we've got Lil Wayne is performing too. We've got halftime options. Who knew?
Yeah, you got halftime options.
I think I'll just watch the Bad Bunny one. I don't even know like any
Me
Bad Bunny
too.
songs, but I'll bet you it's probably pretty cool. Super Bowl halftime show. It'll be a.
He's the most streamed artist in the world every single day in the month of January, and he just won a whole bunch of Grammys. The dude's a good artist.
And
This
he's
idea,
and he is American, by the way.
He's American.
and by
That's
the way, not to like, we don't have to go all over this, but he is American, and there's actually been international people that have performed, including Rihanna and Paul McCartney,
Yeah, Shakira
and
did
no
it.
one said anything
Well,
when
they-
Paul McCartney
he
performed. It
performed-
wasn't like he's not American.
Well, I think Bad Bunny did perform with Shakira like a couple years ago. He's already done it. He was like, because he'll have guests. Because there's always the Super Bowl halftime main guy, and then they have, others. Like Dr. Dre was the Super Bowl halftime guy, but then he brought out Snoop Dogg and Fat
Eminem,
50 Cent, Eminem.
50,
That was pretty
Kendrick.
good. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Did Kendrick bring out someone?
Who?
Kendrick
Venus.
Lamar?
Didn't he bring out
Venus
SZA?
Williams.
He might have brought out SZA. He did bring out Venus Williams.
Yeah, she was sea walking.
That was kind of.
I think she was
That
at
was
halftime,
awesome.
wasn't she?
I think she might have. I think he might have brought her out because you have to have your little guest there.
SZA, I was right.
Yeah.
And Mustard. DJ Mustard.
DJ Mustard?
Yeah.
I don't remember DJ
Mustard.
I'm not familiar with DJ Mustard.
What?
Yeah. Should I?
I've never heard of him. No.
And Steven's a G.
All right.
Should we know DJ?
Nemec's more of a hip hop guy than me.
Look at Nemec right now discussing
He's so bad at this.
DJ
Mustard is a big time DJ, produces beats.
Why would I know who DJ Mustard is?
Because
Does Sook look like he would know who DJ Mustard is?
If there's one person that wouldn't know who DJ Mustard is, it's me. I've never even heard. Honestly, that I thought you were making a bad joke and you were making something up.
No, he's a really, really famous producer. Like makes beats and all that.
I go into his beat lab so I can pay money to go hang out with DJ Mustard. I'll stay for the record. I do not understand DJs. I get that there's some that are better than others, but it confuses and baffles me. Because back in the day, you actually had DJs that would like put on records and it was like on the turntable. Now everyone you just hit a computer button and then they dance.
Push buttons.
You guys definitely know who he is.
I have no idea. Who
Okay,
DJ,
in
you think
They
I'm
Not Like
lying?
Us. You know how it starts? He said mustard on the beat. Mustard on the beat. Yo,
I love how he's
he a free throw. Man down. Call an ambulance. Tell him. That whole
my
thing.
God.
That's DJ. That's
This is the most awkward white rapping I've ever
Yeah, I'm
heard
not
in my
good.
entire
I didn't say I
life.
was good. I'm trying to remind you of some lyrics for God's sake. And one of the words was the N-word, so I couldn't say that. So yeah, I mumbled through syllables of that without saying it. So yeah, it wasn't the best. I just thought I'd refresh your memory since you don't seem to know who DJ Mustard is.
Okay, the idea that Kendrick Lamar in a song referenced someone and then therefore I should know who that is.
That's who produced They Not Like Us.
Okay, why
Or Not
would
Like
I,
Us, excuse
why
me.
would I know that?
I thought everybody knew
DJ
that.
Mustard. You thought everyone knew who DJ Mustard was.
Yes.
By the way, 99% of our audience right now is all simultaneously going, who the hell is DJ Mustard? Including Steven, who's the G.
Your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what you cheer for.
Jeez Louise. DJ Mustard.
Whatever.
Did you think he was making something up?
I didn't think he was making it up. I just never heard the guy. So I was with you there, Sook. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a guy that's good.
He's a very famous music producer who performed at 2 years ago's Super Bowl with Kendrick Lamar. But it's cool.
He performed. What does a DJ do? He hit a
He's
button
a
on
music producer.
He hit a button.
He danced really poorly.
That's what I'm saying. Like every time I see a DJ, again, this may be an ignorant statement, and someone saying, "Sook, you're aging yourself." Yeah, I'm a 48-year-old white guy.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
I think the youngs are with me and the olds are with you.
Okay, I'm not being critical of DJ Mustard. I'm critical of the fact that you insisting I know who DJ Mustard is. This is one time the BTJ, my gal, was adamant that I would know Usher songs, and I was like, I don't know any Usher songs. The only Usher song I know is the Little John song where we were making the booty go clap. That's the only Usher song I know. And she literally got mad at me and started just yelling Usher songs at me. And I was like, you yelling them as opposed to telling me isn't going to make me know any Usher song.
That was the best performance on Primetime since this.
Adelaida,
So
pretty little Cajun queen.
he produced Not Like Us. He produced TV Off, which won Best Rap Song this year, and he's been nominated for Producer of the Year at the Grammys multiple times.
Okay.
I just thought you would know who he was. That's it. That can be the whole thing. You didn't.
Once again, you listing off his credentials doesn't make it any more likely that I'm going to be like, yes, DJ Mustard.
Let's just go to break and come back.
Now I'm familiar with
Someone
this.
is saying DJ Action Slacks. Is that a real thing? He's better than DJ Mustard.
Every time I've been someplace that
Just
there,
what you
I
YouTube
think he's
says.
a local. Isn't he a local guy?
I'm out of the hip hop game. If it came out after 2010-ish,
I think he's just like a local
Kinda.
dude.
Someone said I absolutely thought Nemec made that up. Someone said I've heard of Dijon Mustard. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, I mean,
did he just mess up and say DJ?
I'm being dead serious. Again, because this is probably ignorance on my part. Now, you can put together in your beat labs, I get it. You put together your mixes and all that. But every time I've been to a place that has a DJ, all it is there's a computer open in front of them, and they hit play on something that they've previously done, and then they stand at the DJ booth and like hype up the crowd. And like DJ, like, so now there's like DJ Pauly D and like Paris Hilton, Shaq's a DJ. And like, I don't understand, outside of creating, you took other people's songs and you put your own spin on them or whatever, you made an audio file and then you hit play. So if someone were to create for me a DJ set list and then I wore a big dumb hat and some glasses.
You got to get the glasses.
I got some glasses. And then I stood before a bunch of people that were on ecstasy, and then I hit play on my MacBook. Could I be a DJ?
Yes.
That's no.
If someone made his list for him?
No, that's not what a DJ actually does.
What does a DJ do?
So that is a whole thing. You're opening up a whole thing. So there are now people who are famous celebrities who have people make them a playlist, and they hit a button, and people say that's not real DJing. Real DJing is kind of jazz of music production in that you kind of feel out the crowd, you start to mix songs at the right time, you feel out what should go over what should overlap with what, and get the crowd going, and you kind of control the vibe of the room in real time. If you just have like a set list that somebody produces for you, that's not actually authentic DJing. It's the actual DJing is an art form.
Yes, but when there was real turntables, everything I see now is just a computer.
But there are people who now produce via a computer that same way. And then there are people who just have a set list.
Like DJ Mustard.
No, Mustard is a music producer. God, I want to be done.
I like that we're breaking that.
I'm ready to go home.
I do feel old, but again, if it's after 2010, I'm probably out on the
The
hip-hop.
most famous song of the last decade probably is Not Like Us, and it opens with Mustard on the Beat, H-O-E. That's how it starts, because Mustard produced the song. I just thought people knew that was the producer, because why else would Kendrick Lamar open with Mustard on the Beat? I don't know if I can say H-O-E, but...
They're not like us.
Nemec's disappointed in all of us. He's not angry. He's disappointed.
Me and Sue.
I'm
not
not
like them.
It's all right. It doesn't matter.
We've broken Nemec.
He's done. He's out. Look at him.
He's done.
I want a timeout.
He's going to fight both of us at the break.
Here's Stephen with an update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, NBA trade deadline really heating up here as it is tomorrow. But today, the Mavericks, they agreed to trade 10-time All-Star big man Anthony Davis to the Wizards in an 8-player trade. Mavs going to send Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards, while the Wizards will send Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks to the Mavericks. This ends the Davis era in Dallas. Anthony Davis only played 29 games for the Mavericks after being the main piece in that Luka Doncic trade a year ago. Oklahoma City Thunder added some depth. They trade for 76ers guard Jared McCain in exchange for a first-round pick and 3 second-round picks. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold gave an update on his oblique injury to reporters today. He said it feels really good and the time off has helped. Looks like there's not going to be a lot to worry about for the injuries front on Darnold's oblique when the Seahawks take on the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Seattle's still a 4.5-point favorite. NFL insider Jay Glazer said that the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders not very good at the moment, and he expects the Raiders to trade Crosby before the NFL draft on April 23rd. Trailblazers lost their 5th in a row last night. They lost to the Suns 130-125. Blazers were up big in the first half, 19 points, end up losing the game. Next up, we'll see if the Blazers make a trade at the deadline. The deadline is tomorrow at noon, and their next game is Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies. For more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Stephen Vaughn from the George McCoy Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Your home for
The worst part about this whole thing is Nemec is just rapping the lyrics to "They Not Like Us" during the break, and it is so awkward to listen to white Luka Doncic over here rapping "Mustard on the Beat." Yo,
Did you? And that's not the lyrics.
Yeah, we don't know if we can say the other one.
I don't think you can say the other one.
You probably can. Go for it.
Nope.
It's 6 o'clock. Whatever.
I'll pass.
You can say it.
I don't think it will.
But just randomly, he's just over here in the accent, doing the Kendrick Lamar accent. "Mustard on the Beat."
Yeah. And then I played it for him, and he's like, "Oh, I've heard that lots of times."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's Mustard.
I've heard that song a million times. It's a great song. I had no idea at the beginning of it was "Mustard on the Beat." I had no idea.
That over and over, them saying that, those were all his hits where different rappers. That wasn't Kendrick Lamar over and over. I just played you, I don't know how many in a row, "Mustard on the Beat" something, like 20 times, and I think you thought that was Kendrick Lamar on repeat. That was 20 different rappers saying it because he's very famous. It doesn't matter.
I've never had Nemec try to prove a point to me more than DJ Mustard.
That's not true. He's making that up.
No.
I've had some draft takes about various players that I've talked to a lot more.
You've never come at me harder with anything other than
That's what she said.
Than "Mustard on the Beat."
You said you didn't know it, and I was sure you did. And as soon
not.
as I played it for you, you go, "Oh, I do know that," which was my entire point.
It is funny when you tell someone that you don't know something and they're insistent that you do.
And I was right, wasn't I? You said, "Oh yeah, I do know that."
Well, no,
Yes?
I
Okay.
know the song, but I had no idea what the hell he was saying. I have never once looked up the lyrics to a Kendrick Lamar song.
Okay, well that's on you.
My gal does the same thing. She insists that I know something, and I insist that I don't. And she refuses to accept the reality that someone may not know something that you find commonplace. But I think we all probably do that. Like, you do that a lot. I'll do it with, like, kids. Like, someone will have no idea who whatever is, or whether that's an artist, an athlete, whatever. And to you, it seems totally foreign that someone couldn't possibly know that. But in reality, it's just that they're just not familiar with it. And the older I get, that happens with kids all the time. Like, there's kids that don't know who the Rolling Stones are, or don't know who the Beatles are, or don't know who Muhammad Ali is, or, there's, whether it's, Columbus. There was a thing going around today that they're going to build a statue of Christopher Columbus, honoring his landing in the United States. And he never landed in the United States. It's like, there's all kinds of those things that to you are the most obvious thing in the world, but to others, they don't know. So it's all about perception and kind of where you come from.
Again, I'm going to stand on the win of, "Oh yeah, I've heard that."
I've heard the song.
Victory.
Everyone has heard that song.
And you should look up Kendrick Lamar lyrics. He's won a Pulitzer, for God's sake. I mean, there are rappers who you don't need to look up their lyrics. Kendrick Lamar is really trying to tell you some stuff. It's worth looking into.
All right, so I got into this with a buddy of mine. My buddy asked me, he was out with some friends, and he texted me, he said, "What is the best beer?" And I was like, are you talking about, like Coors? Are you talking about Bud? He goes, "No, what is your favorite beer?" Because I think he said at one point, I'm sure we did this, we were ranking our favorite beers. So you have like the shower beer, you have the vacation beer, you have all these different beers. And he asked me to rank what was my favorite beer. And I responded with, the best beer is the sixth beer. And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, the sixth beer is the best beer. And it started a great sort of kerfuffle amongst his friends. And I said, I will bring this to the air, and I want to defend, because everyone was being very critical of my beer choice. And this is where I say the sixth beer is the greatest beer. Because all the other beers that people were throwing out, whether, again, you think about what your favorite beer is. I'm a big fan of the after work beer. Like after you've done yard work, hot summer day, you mow the lawn, maybe you've trimmed, maybe you've spread some bark dust. That's a great beer. When you're finished, you crack one, phenomenal beer. The vacation beer, the first beer of a vacation, phenomenal beer. Get to where you're going, maybe you're at your villa down in Mexico, wherever it is, you crack one, beach beer, also a great beer. But here's the problem with all of those beers. They can be one beer and done. Like most of the time, if I get done working in the yard, it is a single beer and I'm finished.
Right.
The vacation beer, it may lead to other beers, but you don't know. That could just be you get to where you're going, you crack a beer, you drink it, and then you go about your merry way.
They're the Carmelo Anthony of beers.
Yes.
You can have one phenomenal season, but if we're talking greatest college basketball player ever, greatest beer ever. We need multiple beers.
And this is where I go with, and this is a hill that I'm willing to die on. The sixth beer is the ultimate beer. Because if we go out for beers, and this is my argument that I was making, if we go out for beers and we have one beer or 3 to 4 beers, that can just be that and it's done. If we say, hey, let's go have a drink, and we end up with 3 beers, most of the time that's the end of the evening, right? We go out, we have a couple beers, chat a little bit, 30, 45 minutes later, we're done and we go home. But when you cross over and you've now gotten to that 5th beer, I feel like that's starting to get to the tipping point. When you get to 5 beers, that's more along the lines of, hey, I think we're doing this. 5 beers is my cutoff to where, are we going to have a night of drinking? But at 5, I still think you can call it. At 5 beers, you can still say, hey, I think we've had enough. The missus is calling. I probably should go home. But if you have 6 beers, if you have consumed 6 beers, I believe that 6 beers is the line of demarcation where we are not just having 6 beers. 6 beers leads to whatever else the evening is going to bring to you. 6 beers is we're here, we're doing this. It now goes from we're hanging out and having beers to we're hanging out and we're having a night. Therefore, to me, the best beer is the 6th beer because it leads. You may have, now granted, if I'm having 6 beers at a bar, your 1 beer on a beach is a superior beer unto itself. But know that your 1 beer on a beach may just be done, where my 6 beers will lead to a better night than what you're doing on the beach. Hence the 6th beer being the greatest beer of all time. And it's a hill I will die on.
Yeah, I think the 6th beer can be a catalyst to regret, but the 6th beer is never in and of itself the regret.
Yes.
It just is the line of demarcation
Yes.
to this is turning into something. And once you've had that 6th beer, it's done been turned.
Yes.
You're going.
Yes.
I agree with you.
There's no coming back from 6 beers.
No one has ever said between, you can cut the night off like you said and go home. No one on the 6th beer has ever been like, oh, I've made a terrible mistake. You're in the process of then we're ramping up from we had a few beers hanging with friends to, oh, we're having a night out. And again, there's been things after 6th beer that have been mistake.
Yes.
But in the middle of your 6th beer, you are full adrenaline. We're going. This is going to be an evening. I agree with you. 4th beer, there can be retreat. 5th beer, retreat. Anything under 3 can just be hanging out.
Yeah, it's hanging out.
You're just hanging out. But once you have and fully consume that 6th beer, when you're out, you are not going home to just go to bed.
This
6
is,
beers in. You're right.
We may have disagreed about the DJ Mustard thing, but I appreciate that you're on board with the 6 beers.
You're 100%. Because the other piece is it's a perfect number because I've seen situations where people will come over with a 6er and they're like, once you've completed that 6er, you then to drink anymore have to
go somewhere else.
Uber and go somewhere else.
Yes.
So it automatically is a cutoff for let's go. We finished it. Now it's time to do something else.
It's the magical number.
You're right.
You get to 4 and now you start having to ask yourself. And that's where a good bartender knows to put he's got to push. That's where a good bartender is like, boys, you want one more? And you have to start looking around. You look around at your buddies and you're like, hey, what are we doing here, guys? I need to know. Where are we going? And then that maybe he's like, oh, one more. And that's that 5th. And then comes the line. That's the magical line. And you can't go home after that. When you order the 6, you as a drinking friend are not allowed to go home. That is where you text the missus and you let everyone know that this has become an evening, that we're doing this. 6th beer. It's the magical beer. Steven's not a drinker, so he can't appreciate the 6 beers.
What are you talking about here? No.
I was looking at Steven for input, and I forgot you don't drink.
I don't drink, no. So I'm just there to party anyways.
And
everybody.
I don't think this is a matter of you being an offensive lineman thing. Because I'm thinking about times where I've gone to someone's house and brought a 6er, or they've come to my house and got a 6er. How many different times during that time where you're just hanging out, maybe watching a game, and then that's it, and they go home?
Yeah.
They have 3, and they leave the other 3, or they have 4, and they leave the other 2 in your fridge because they got to go home because the missus is telling them it's time. The times that 6th beer is consumed, almost every time, it's because we're polishing off the six-pack, or they're finishing off theirs, I'm finishing off mine, because we got somewhere to be. Because we got a call about the next event, and here we go. You're right.
Now, to be fair,
what's the counter argument? I want to hear the counter argument.
Well, the counter argument is that they're just trying to throw the individual like beer at you, like again, whatever the vacation or whatever your favorite beer is. But that's why I said that's being short-sighted. It's the number. And yes, if you're a small person, someone saying that my people don't process alcohol the same as Sook's people, he's claiming that because like if you're an Asian, you may not process alcohol very well. So like that's my gal. So 6 beers may be your 3 beer, but everyone will have a number. For me, that beer is 6. But your magic number may be 3 or it may be 4 depending on your size. But everyone has a number that will be your magical beer number. And if you're out there getting into enough stuff, you will know what that is, and that forever will be the best beer that you ever have. Don't let anyone confuse you with one beer being the end all, the be all. No. It's the magic number of beer, whatever that is. And I encourage you out there, find your beer. And that way like if you're out and you can't make it an evening and you're going to catch hell for going home, never get to that number. So if you know that you can't go out that night, you don't get to 6 beers. You have to know at 4, you cut it off. Because if you get to 5, now you run the danger. You get to 5, now you run the danger of, God forbid, you end up with 6 and now your hands are tied. That's when you go home and that's when you get divorced.
Are there people... So I think there are two different arguments, right? Is like you're honestly kind of arguing location versus where in the evening you're having
number
a beer.
is greater than location.
Right, I agree with you. However, are there people that are arguing like, no, second beer, third beer, fourth beer? I would argue second beer is the worst. First beer, you can just have a nice, enjoyable beer. Second beer, a lot can happen with that second beer, and it's honestly kind of a throwaway beer. It doesn't mean a whole lot. You've already had the fulfillment of the first beer of, I'm relaxed. Second beer, sometimes you have the second beer and you go, I probably shouldn't have done that because I have to go back to work or I got to do whatever if you have like a lunch break. And it means nothing. Nothing. It's not until third, fourth, fifth that we even start really having a conversation.
That's what it's about. When we come back, we put a bow on this. The Club here on The Fan. Well, that'll just about do it for us. Nemec, appreciate you sitting in for the last handful of days. Isaac Robb, in theory, back tomorrow. I have not heard from him, but he said he was moving the flight up, and so that Thursday should not be a problem.
Nemec on the beat, yo.
Nemec on the beat. Him and DJ Mustard. Oh, we should be back to regularly scheduled program. You've been listening to the West Coast Bias Edition. If you like it, we do a football podcast. We try to put it out a couple times a week. We haven't done it this last 2 weeks because we've been doing this show. But you can catch it wherever you get our podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, all those fun places. We put out, it's mainly college football. We do some NFL draft stuff. So we do that on a regular basis. And so if you like it, subscribe, do all that, go find it. And if not, no worries. Lots of different content out there for you. But this show will return in its normal form. Isaac Robb, me, Steven, 3 to 7 tomorrow right here on 105.1 The Fan.